So I'm going to stay mum for another 3-4 minutes. Let's please watch out this video.
Quality, innovation, respect, and integrity. Take steps to invest in your career. International Management Consultancy is the leading global marketplace for learning and instruction, helping professionals across the industry to develop skills and expertise to get recognition and growth in the corporate world. We are one of the leading training providers and gradually spreading our training facility amongst candidates based at different geographies, such as Canada, United States of America, United Arab Emirates, Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, Lebanon, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Philippines, India, and many other countries across the globe. IMC is accredited by the highest industry standards. We put in the efforts and we work to prove our commitment to offering our clients only the best and of superior quality. With a uniquely immersive curriculum that combines live instruction from the leading experts, peer-to-peer collaboration, on-demand lessons, unlimited online trainings, and 24/7 learning support. IMC helps over thousands of professionals learn their skills needed to advance their careers and reach their full potential. In line with our commitment to excellence, IMC offers a number of training courses preparing professionals for certifications and exams given by the international associations in areas like management, finance and accounting, human resources, sales and marketing, quality administration, and as well as project management. By fully attending these courses and successfully completing the requirements of the certifying body, participants will receive a special certificate which recognizes their dedication and commitment and in many cases help them earn valuable continuing education credit. IMC Consultants has been working together with their clients from various industries in aligning their people and processes to compete through high speed, excellent quality, and low cost. We strongly believe that the key to our success is our total commitment in delivering value to our clients based on integrity, honesty, and openness. If you are uncertain about which roles or skills are best for you, hurry! Come visit our website or talk to our expert education consultants today. Take a step, invest in your future, empower your knowledge, and be one of our success stories. International Management Consultancy, excellence is what we deliver.
All right, so thank you all for watching out this video. Few things that I definitely want to talk about from this video, which is definitely relevant to us and important to every one of us. So when we talk about getting this certification done from IMC, the certificate has good credibility in the market. So it's very much appreciated by the employers, given that it has a lot of weightage on it. Like, so when we talk about the accreditations what IMC has, we've got IMC is accredited with Council for Six Sigma certification, which is based out of USA. It's also accredited by International Quality Federation, which is again based out of USA. Another, which is UK based, we have CPD certification. So CPD is like one of the certification which most of the universities in Europe they use CPD accreditation. So it talks volume about it, and top of it we have IASSC certification accreditation. So pretty much it covers all those basic grounds when it talks about the reliability and the quality of the standard that we've been able to maintain. So from the certification standpoint, yes, this has absolutely global acceptability. All employers love it. So you can be rest assured about the certification part. Now, other than that, like the syllabus and the training program that we go through, it's been tailor-made and it's been customized and it's been updated in order to make sure that whatever we learn is in line with the real world practices, because the Six Sigma has evolved a lot. like because the way industry is changing. So it is important to make sure that we continue to upgrade and evaluate the training content and make sure it's not obsolete, because there's no point in studying something and then going out in the market and you find that, well, but something whatever been asked in the job recruitments, we have no idea about what's going on in real world. So the way we go about doing this training program is like, so like let me tell you about myself. I have roughly now about like 21 plus years of work experience, and a good 14 years I was engaged in a corporate sector in the service industry. Since 2014, I have only been doing Lean Six Sigma management training and consulting. So that's the only thing what I do. So I prefer to be a specialist of one rather jack of all trades. So that's the only thing what I teach. I'm a certified project management practitioner. So I use that PMP knowledge in my Lean Six Sigma projects. Most of my work I do in Middle East, in Europe. That's where I have most of my clients come from. And since, yes, I'm based out of India, so practically, yes, I do have a lot of clients here in India as well. So if I talk about the kind of industries that we have created, practically this list could be endless. And that's what Six Sigma can do to you. Will you have no boundaries whatsoever? It doesn't matter what your previous background is, what kind of education qualification you carry, which department you work in. It has no boundaries. As I said, I come from service industry background, and I've been working with clients from oil and natural gas, constructions, for that matter, publication houses. We've been working for data centers. We've been dealing with like practically whatnot, every possible industry. Lately, we've been kind of dealing with almost every possible thing. So irrespective what background you come from, Six Sigma can help you. If you understand the concept right, then there's no looking back, because every industry is your industry. Every department is your department. You have no foundation. So we will try to kind of make sure that you go through the entire training program where you equipped with the right skills to demonstrate this Lean Six Sigma. See, unfortunately, you would not be, if I would be disappointing you in case you were expecting some slides to show up in this training program. I do not use any slides, because trust, you can read the slides and I can read the slides. Anyone can read it. I can hand over a book to you, you can read that as well. So reading through the slides is not how Six Sigma will work. It's a practitioner's job. You will not be paid, or you'll not be hired in an organization to talk about stuff. You have to demonstrate, you have to solve a business problem. So it's more of an experiential learning that is required. So you should be able to demonstrate. So during the job interview, when you face the recruiter, generally they ask you a question. Well, you've done the certification, great. Have you done a project? Well, pretty much, if you've gone through a project, you exactly know how it needs to be done. Obviously, you've just done the training. So I highly recommend we all to be doing a simulation project, which I'll be just talking about and I'll explain how we go about doing it. But the entire training program is exactly in the same fashion. How will you start a project and how will you end a project? So teaching you theory and expecting you to do practical, it's going to be unfair on my part. So telling you the exact journey of the project is how we, so then you pretty much know how it needs to be done. There's no one, you don't need any additional guidance to do a project. So what you do, you can really apply this. It's all going to be practically done, how a project has to be done. So let me quickly show you. So these are some sample projects which were completed by the participants, and well, people have switched industries. Manufacturing guy has switched to service industry. These are simulation projects, and that's how real world projects will also look like. Beautification is something else, but well, people who have gone through training, they've worked on, this is the level of understanding I want. If you have this level of understanding, sorry, well, there's no one who can stop you. There's no looking back. It's exactly knowing like how it needs to be done from beginning to end. So in real world, when you get a Six Sigma certification done, when you start working on an organization in Six Sigma role, you will be supposed to solve these things. So it's more of an experiential thing. So we will, as I said, there will be no more slides, no slides in this. It's more about how you end up getting this level of understanding, because then you don't have to memorize anything. You don't have to mug up anything. Forget about the exam. If you have practical level of understanding, you can crack any exam. Well, somebody who does theory can just pass the exam, but doing it in real world. When I hire for my projects, when I hire for my clients, the biggest problem that we generally see that we hire from the market, we want people to be working on projects that people have theoretical knowledge. They have a lot of knowledge of multiple tools. When what tool needs to be used is the biggest challenge. And that's where the transition of theory to practical is where the biggest missing link is. So my expectation is to kind of make you and have this level of understanding the different project. This is a manufacturing related stuff which was done by one of the participants. So there are different stuff which we will be sharing data. We'll be working on the project. So this is not a requirement for your certification. So you just need to pass your exam to get your certification done. This is an add-on thing, which I highly recommend. It's not mandatory, but you can just write the exam, pass the exam, you get your certification done. Having said that, if you're able to do this, we will provide you the data. And if you're able to get this done, well, definitely you will be getting an extra additional certificate, which is about project completion, which is definitely like the best thing to happen. So when you're sitting through the job interview, you'll always have an edge. And people love, like nowadays corporates do not are very much like the cost is a big crisis. So companies pay a huge amount of money for these trainings, and nowadays people do not have time to hire people and train them. Well, if I'm paying, I need people who are ready. So pretty much a recruiter always would prefer somebody who has knowledge of doing it. It works wonders. So you will be able to add this on your profile. So yes, one for certification, one for completing the project as well. That's a separate project completion certificate. So that is not mandatory, but that project part will happen once you're done with a certification. That's when you get started. But we will, so the entire journey will give you a clear roadmap how it needs to be done. So once you're done with your certification, you write your exam, pass your exam, and then you start working on the project, and you keep reviewing and getting it reviewed on a periodic basis. So a lot of people are still working on, we work offline also to kind of like interact with individuals to kind of help them, and even when they're working in real world projects also. So I hope that's what we're here for. We're not here for just a certificate, we just definitely want to know how it needs to be done. Shreyas, I can please share it at my screen again. Just give me one quick second, if in case you're not able to see that. Well, is it fine with you?
Yes, it's loading.
Perfect. So I hope we are all on the same page. Like, so no one of us, see, we're kind of spending a time, like say, I'm sure you invest a lot of money, but for me, the time is the biggest crucial factor. You all are like, so working professionals, taking out time during your work life. I understand how it's difficult it is, because I remember when I had to take time, how difficult when you're working and they still have to kind of take out time for this. It's very difficult. So I really want to make sure that the time that you invested can help you a long way in your career. So I hope we all on the same page. There's no one here who just need a certification, because passing an exam, you can just mug up things, but that will not help you secure a job. Like, no, probably you might still be able to impress with the knowledge, but when it comes to the practical aspect, that's where things will go wrong. So I hope we all have the same understanding, right? Is it okay with everyone?
Yes.
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 Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So a couple of things before we get started. I won't take long here. So when we go ahead and get started, like here, we will be going through certain phases. When we learn Six Sigma, there will be, you can say different stages of Six Sigma. So we will have, like, I have some mock tests, which I will be sharing this file. So I do prepare detailed notes while we are going through this, and I will be sharing this with everyone. Every time when we go through the training session, I'll share the notes. You'll have the recordings with you, so you can also go back and kind of look into the recordings, look at the notes parallelly. Having said that, if you want to prepare your own notes, please do that, because everyone can relate with their notes better. But I will still be sharing this with you. So this is the link for the Google Drive, where lots of material will be shared. So pretty much this is just the beginning. So this is a common drive. Please save it, bookmark it, whichever, but do like I hope everyone is on the WhatsApp group we have for this batch. So in case anyone is not joined the WhatsApp group, please get in touch with your program coordinator and join the WhatsApp group, because that's a common platform. We're all connected. If you have any concerns, questions during the week also, you can kind of touch base, so we don't have to wait for the session, so we can get those queries sorted out. And not only during the training and after the training, when like still that's a common platform where we're still connected. So please do join the WhatsApp group. It's where a lot of like we can have the queries resolved. So this is the common Google Drive link, which is going to be for the notes, which I will be sharing. So notes and other training material I will be sharing. There will be another Google Drive link, which IMC will be sharing, where the recordings will be shared by the IMC team. So please remember, there will be two different drives. One is that where I'm sharing the notes, and one is where the recordings are accessible. So this is the link for the Google Drive. I will be sharing in the WhatsApp group again, but please bookmark this one. This is going to be like, so right now there's nothing in there because we just started. So when we get going with everyday session, we kind of when we complete these subjects. So this is like a phase number 1 of lean implementation, like Lean Six Sigma. So this is a mock test that I've created. This can help you understand like what kind of questions can be asked. So from an examination standpoint, and these are the similar kind of questions which are asked during job interviews as well. So you, when we're done with this, like you will have all the mock tests available with you in this. So you'll have the links when you get the file. Do not try them just out of curiosity to start with. Let the phase come. So when we complete the defined phase, you have the link. Please go and try and test your knowledge, like if you are able to understand, so we can understand the gaps where you need more clarity, we can get that discussed. So once you're done with the measure phase, please go and try your this mock test. And so this is by phases. As we keep completing the phase, you will have like this mock test to kind of try and test your knowledge, like how much you've understood and all. Apart from these mock tests, there will be another mock test which is there in the LMS that you have from IMC. You must be logged in with the IDs and password in the LMS. So there is mock test also, but that's for all the topics together. That's a mixed one. So that will come in handy once you're done with all the training, like complete training, because that's a mixed bag. That's not by phases. So here, as we keep learning, we will keep on trying and testing at periodic level. And in the end, when you're kind of done with everything, then you can try out the mixed sort of questions, which will be from any part of the Six Sigma. That is there in LMS, and that has lots of questions in it. So that is good enough for you to pass the exam. And telling you based on the feedback from the previous batches. So be rest assured, examination will not be a big problem. Next thing, this is the link for money, which is I'm kind of sharing it. Please do not download this right now. I will, like, you will any which was get the file and link. That's the Minitab. And see, when we talk about Lean Six Sigma today, you have to be an expert in Minitab. Well, it is the need of the hour. Well, people, we've been training, like in this year itself, like this is like mid of the May. Within this year, I have trained about 8 different corporates on Minitab. People who are Six Sigma, green belt trained, black belt trained, but have never used Minitab. Globally, people are looking for Six Sigma professionals who have understanding of using Minitab. It's a very high-end statistical software. Well, practically there's nothing close to this one. It's very, very user-friendly. And so there are options like SPSS, you can use it, but they're like 2 poles apart. I have done Six Sigma training through SPSS also, and it's a pain, trust. If you use Minitab, you will not end up using anything else. So you would not be required to do a separate training for Minitab. We've been doing lots of training for corporates who are just for Minitab. So during a training, we will go extensively through Minitab. Do remember this Minitab is a paid software, but it comes with 30 days of trial version. Please do not install it right now. They'll let you know when to install, because you can download the free trial version, and trial version is a full version. It's not, it is not like a restricted version. It's a full version that you get, but 30 days. And you cannot install this on a mobile phone or tablet. You need a proper laptop or a desktop. So remember this, you cannot install it again on a same laptop or a desktop unless you take a paid subscription. So this is very expensive. Like, so being very honest, yes, for an individual, it is very expensive. For the training, we're good to go. We'll have that understanding developed, so you can practice this. For corporates, yes, corporates do purchase a couple of licenses, lifetime license, and pretty much. So whenever you take up a job and you will see Minitab there, you will not have a problem, because Minitab is being used by almost everyone is switching to. Like I still have few trainings lined up only for Minitab. People have who are Six Sigma trained have never used Minitab. So this is the need of the art. So you don't have to go for a separate training for this. We will get this covered as you go through. We'll keep working on Excel also, but Excel can do a limited stuff. So we will keep working on the Excel based calculations. But apart from this, Minitab is going to be predominant use because you going for a master's program. Excel can only help you till a limit. The stuff that you have to learn, Excel is like has very limited features. So we will be doing an extensive training on Minitab part. So you cannot so Minitab part, I will definitely come back and tell you what's the right time. So please do not just install for trying it out, because your time will start clicking. So it will start with the 30 days trial version will start on. So please do not install it. I will tell you, like, okay, let me tell you, like, so we have got how many days in here? We got 10 days thing. So most likely we would need it on the 4th day. So when we on the 28th May session. So before 28th, probably you can install it on 28th itself or 27th itself. That will be the right time. But I will definitely come back and tell you when it's the right time to kind of install, because before that we will not need it. So don't waste those many days, because you'll not have enough time left over for you to practice on this. So do not install it just to see. If in case you have multiple laptops, please do it. Then there's no problem, but avoid it in that case. Last but not the least, the break timing. So with people are from different time zone. So the schedule normally which we work with a 3-hour schedule, there's a 15 minutes break. So we the plan is to like this time is as per the Indian Standard Time. But if whichever time zone you're in, we will be going for 1.5 hours training, and then we'll take a 15 minutes break, and then we'll go for remaining 1 hour 15 minutes. So that's the way we've been doing this training. I hope it's comfortable for everyone.
Yes.
Perfect. Next, how to get a Minitab in the fold. So see, Minitab can only come from like an affordable price, not only if you're in like a university student. That's when you get the request has to be raised by the university. The license will be assigned to a university. That's when it's reduced, and still the reduced one is quite high. So generally corporates end up purchasing a lifetime license. So at an individual, people don't purchase it unless you're a consultant like me, so who has to use it any which way. So we'll end up buying a license, but unless otherwise, it's good enough for us to practice and get used to this. You'll get comfortable with Minitab. So there are certain substitutes, we'll talk about it, but they're not good as Minitab. So, but since the time, like, so you've got to be getting into some kind of job role, you need to learn Minitab first. If you know one Minitab, you can try out those options, remaining options. I'll tell you other names also, which you can try, but after knowing Minitab. So that's pretty much about the basic prerequisites that we will be working on. And now we are good to get started now. So I would only request everyone, that's the only thing which is required to make sure the training is not just good. It's a great experience for everyone. This journey for 30 hours that we have, it should be a memorable journey. It should have an impact in a career. And the only thing which is required is your engagement. I will try to share whatever I have learned in this industry in the best possible way and to make it comfortable for you. But please do ask questions. I will do that from my end without any doubt. But if you have a question, which please do ask. You have the chat option. You can share the question through the chat, or you can unmute yourself, ask the question. Do not hesitate, because there's no question which is the wrong question. The only one which has not been asked is the wrong question. So please do ask. So on that note, I hope I'll get proper support from everyone. So first thing first, we would like to understand, is this Lean and Six Sigma? They're two different words or one word?
There are two different terminologies.
Perfect.
Two different words.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Two different.
All right, so let's talk about Lean then in the first, like, so get started with Lean part of it. What do you mean by Lean? And your understanding, like, we will be doing everything from scratch, but just to know if in case we have idea what is Lean all about.
Eliminating waste.
Eliminating waste. Perfect. That's correct. Anyone has any different definition or understanding about lean?
Maybe quality improvement in the processes.
Quality you can say, because it will be the end results, and like yes, so we most of us have already given the answer about this eliminating the waste, tangible waste, what we can see. Perfect. Mike and administrator, well, if you got idea of administrator, yeah, that's correct. So it's about eliminating waste. So in general, honestly, I can't teach you anything about lean. Why? Because you already have been practicing lean. You have been practicing lean. Everyone has been practicing lean. It's not a new concept for any one of us. But yes, we may not have been doing it with a purpose. We may not know those terminologies. And since we have not been doing with purpose, we practice clean in our day-to-day life, but in bits and pieces, not in the right order. And hence we are, and moreover, we never quantify it, we never measure it, the improvement. So it's that the topics will not be new, but what we will be able to do with the topic of understanding lean is that we will be able to put together all those lean topics in a structured way so that we can implement those topics like the way we implement lean. We will be able to measure it, we'll be able to quantify it, and we'll be able to showcase the improvement with that. So there will be nothing so scientific about lean. Lean is absolutely common sense and everyone understands lean. There's nothing new to this one. Melvin, that's correct. Consistency and reliable execution. Perfect. You're about that. Identifying and eliminating waste without compromising quality. Christopher, you spot on. Yes, thank you. So I'm going to go back and kind of read it, like this, write it down. Its first step is to identify the waste. So it's identification and elimination of waste from the process to increase efficiency. While you do that, you got to be careful without compromising on the quality of product or service. You can't compromise on that. So if your customer has been experiencing some sort of quality standard, it cannot be compromised. Like Apple did, but it was not lean. Apple took away the concept of giving charges, was saying that, well, everyone, we understand people have been already using Apple, so they don't need an extra charger. Well, sorry, these guys have screwed up completely. Why? Because they have lost the touch of innovation which they were able to bring in, and that's where Apple lost significant market share. Well, still, since they had to be profitable, they were not making enough money. So what they did is they took away the charger. Well, so that reduced the cost and they still were able to maintain the profitability, but that's not going to go a long way because people are smart enough to understand that was not, that didn't go well. And obviously that's this concept of, because any which is you end up buying an extra charger, that's expensive. But yeah, that was not lean, by the way. But first of all, let's say you are talking about any industry, be it a manufacturing industry or service industry. What you do is there are a lot of process steps, there are a lot of departments involved in manufacturing of a product or delivery of a service. So hypothetically, we have a process which has multiple steps in it, A, B, C, D, E, say that's what it is. So department one completes the work. The output of department one goes to department B. They work on it and then it goes to department C. They work on it and finally, say the end of step E, we have a product delivered or services delivered. So different stages. This is the process A to E, which delivers my process, product quality or services, whatever. Say hypothetically it takes me 15 days time to complete this process. And I end up charging customers, say $1,000 for this particular product or service. Now with the knowledge of lean tools and techniques, what I'll do is I'll go back and introspect this process. Well, is this process step is a waste or not? So first part is about identification. So having the knowledge of what to call as a waste is the identification part. So we will talk about, we'll learn about this. This is just the beginning. So we'll get in details. We'll understand how to find the waste in the system. So hypothetically, we figured out that this B step we're doing is a waste. And it's not supposed to be there. It's part of a process, but it doesn't have any meaning to it. It qualifies to be called as a waste as per lean definition. So now what lean says, well, go ahead and eliminate the process step. Now your process is a lean process. Now that just takes me about, say, 12 days time or 13 days or 11 days time. What you've done is you cut down the unnecessary process step, which was there in the system, We never treated that as a waste. We never criticized the processes. Somebody drafted the standard operating procedure. We've been just following it religiously. So it's time to introspect your process, observe the process from beginning till end, and with the knowledge of lean tools, try to introspect and find out waste in the system. And there are tons of waste in every process. So when you did this, this was lean in a simplest form. This is lean. There's nothing much about lean. Lean is simple. The only, like, see, if somebody feels that it's complex, that it's us who is making it complex. Lean was always simple. It's lean is common sense. This was waste, so we removed it. Simple as that. When you remove the waste, you are able to deliver the product or service faster because you're saving on that time that you invested here. So lean, and I talk about in nutshell, what is the lean? Lean is all about speed of the process. Simple logic is, can you deliver product or service faster? Simple. When I say faster, without compromising the quality of product or service. Lean is all about time. All time related initiatives will boil down to lean. If you can, how do you cut down time? By removing the waste, because we want to implement lean. The time, right, the delivery time, processing time, any time that we end up spending, if you're able to deliver it faster, customer is going to be happy. And yes, because you're able to cut down waste, well, your process efficiency is optimized in terms of cost, time, effort, resources, raw material, and so forth, everything associated with that particular step. Your process is optimized. Lean is as simple as that. And I'm not sure probably if some people are joining from the previous batches, but I would like to kind of play this quick short video. This is about lean identification. We have not discussed any lean tool. As I said, you all know lean. Let's quickly validate and verify that. This is what you will be doing in any process, whatever process it may be, you will be seeing this. All you need to remember is lean is all about time. The purpose of implementing lean is to cut down the process time. And by how do you cut down? By removing the waste. So in this process, this is what you got to do in every process, whatever industry, it absolutely doesn't matter. Let's check this out. You got to take a note of every single process step from the beginning of your process till the end of the process. So you track every single step, and you also track how much time did you invest in every process step. So that is more of a time and motion study you're doing for every process step, and how many people involved. A lot of things will be discussed when we get into lean part. The customer is trying to explain what he wants. She's absolutely in a different world altogether. Any which ways, every process step has been monitored, and you also tracking the time, and you will see this. This is what you got to be doing. Observation. Lean is all about observing the process. It's what you see is what you solve in lean. Every process step has been observed. You're quantifying the time. Even within these 10 steps, a lot of things could have been done better if you need to serve the customer faster. Lots of things could have been done better even by now. This lady has gala time. Goodness, she's enjoying her work. This time is also increasing the time. You're waiting for the process step to work on, but that's increasing the time. Absolutely clueless what she is doing.
still want that toast plain?
No. Hey, about the,
I got it.
Goodness, she has nothing to.
about the,
I got it.
really, about the butter.
No, I got it.
Rach, no, really, about the butter.
Goodness.
Okay, here you go.
Rach, one piece would have been plenty. I really wanted jelly on it.
Goodness. All right, so this is pretty much the process, what we will have to observe. Any process for that matter. I'm sure there are a lot of things which could have been done better in this entire process to cut down time. And a lot of things which went wrong. Absolutely bizarre. And can you suggest some which could have been done better to start with, actually? What could have been better in the first case?
She should
There
have
are
checked
lot
the customer requirement first.
Absolutely, yes.
What exactly he wants, rather
Absolutely,
than
yes.
going back and forth and taking the stuff which he could
It's
have
not even
avoided.
required this much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then rest, a lot of things could have been done better. She was not at all planned. The kitchen layout, the planning should have been done better.
And
Like,
she
so,
was serving the customer the raw food, the burnt food, which
yes,
is not
absolutely, that was
required.
bad. Yeah. So see, this is honestly, like, so as I said, like, I come from a service industry background, and trust, been doing this same stuff with the logic doesn't change. It's just that whichever industry you're coming in from, there is, when you look at the process, lean is all about start your observation. It's all about observation. Start from the beginning, go till the end, and keep looking at every single activity, quantify the time, and then start introspecting. Is that single activity that you talk about, every activity will be criticized to see, is that something which you will call as a waste? Is that what you call as a waste? Because so we will get into the details. The first part is about knowing what will be qualified as a waste. So first you go and need to observe and map the process. And with that, when you have the process in front of you, that's when you start introspecting every single process step. Is that a waste? Is that a waste? And with the knowledge of lean tools, and which is simple, it's just about having the definition of what is a waste. Then you will be able to figure it out. It's simple. Lean is absolutely simple. And that is the primary reason it's difficult. Because it's simple, it's not fascinating, it's not like graph, charts, and analysis. We'll generally not be so excited about it. It's lean is, people end up saying lean is a project. Well, I would differ, and I would have my reservations of calling lean as a project, because lean cannot be defined as a project. Because if you go by the PMP definition, lean is a temporary, like any project is a temporary endeavor. The project will start and end. Lean doesn't end. It's an operations job. It's the same job which you do day in, day out, 9 to 5 kind of job without fail. Probably you may not like it, but still you do it. That's what is lean. Operations job has to be done every day. Unfortunately, when you talk about project, it's picked up for a purpose. You start and you end it. It has a definite end. Lean will never end. And when we talk about lean principles, we see that it's a circle. It's a cycle. It goes on and on and on. It never ends. So lean, by definition of project management, if you've gone through PMP syllabus, it is not a project. Project is Six Sigma. But remember, it is the foundation of every organization. Well, I would again like to reiterate this. It is very, very important. Well, you may not choose to do Six Sigma, your choice. It's absolutely fine. But you cannot choose not to have lean in the organization. Lean is the basic stuff, which was the foundation. Companies where lean struggles, Six Sigma will struggle more. The foundation, where the companies which have excellent lean culture, Six Sigma will show its true color there. So it's very important to understand the foundation is always laid down by lean. If your basic foundation is weak, then you will always be having chaos. People will be the communication gap, challenges. it will always happen. Lean will always simplify it. It is simple, but yes, and that's why people will always take it lightly, would not pay the due importance to it, and it will always, so it takes time to get lean in place. Although it's simple, it's difficult to sustain it. Implementation is fine, you can implement it, but sustenance is difficult. People will do it for a week, 10 days, 20 days, and then slowly, gradually will start ignoring it because it's simple. Well, I know it. That's where the problem starts. So you've got to get the lean foundation done. That's what you switch into Six Sigma. Well, again, I would say Six Sigma is your choice. You do it or not do it, absolutely your choice. But lean is non-negotiable. It's hygiene factor. So that's pretty much about lean, but basic understanding of lean is this. We'll get into details. It is simple, but we'll get to understand the specifics, how you quantify, how you put that lean structure in the process, the practical way of implementing lean, through the lean principles. So we'll pick up the lean principles and we go ahead and understand how it's done. So we'll get there. So practically, is this okay and clear with everyone? What is lean in simple terms? Is it fine?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, let's go and check this out then. Six Sigma. Well, I won't say the same thing with Six Sigma. It is not, I would again like to say that Six Sigma is not difficult. It is different. And it's not something that most of us may be practicing in day in, day out. Well, if your job role has been into data analysis, that's when you are probably might have some bit of things you already are aware from Six Sigma perspective. But in general, if your job role is not into data, you may not be like close to Six Sigma concepts there. But all in all, when you talk about Six Sigma, anyone wants to pitch in, like, what is the definition for Six Sigma?
Do you mind if I give it a try?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, I said, do you mind if I give it a try? Can I give a try for that?
Yeah, yeah.
Sure. Okay. So just referring the example above, in the 5-step process of lean, A, B, C, D, E, you knew that stage B or the step B is an NVA, right? The major difference between Six Sigma and lean is that while doing the Six Sigma project or a study, you know the problem statement. You don't know the solutions, you don't know anything. So you initiate that project to really identify where exactly what is the problem. You don't know on the face of it.
Right.
You need to do that analysis. You need to do your data analysis or your qualitative aspects of the process to identify where the problem really lies. And through that, it has its own tools, part of it, right? You do your fish points, you do your 5-hour analysis thing. After that, once you have done that, then you move into that stage wherein you try to identify what is the potential solution for those failures or the RCs that you have done that will actually lead you to your goal statement, which will be your problem or the goal statement for the project.
What do you do with Six Sigma? If I have to, as a recruiter, if I ask you what is the definition of Six Sigma, what would be your definition there?
Okay, Six Sigma is a metric basically to define the health of the process. It has its own mathematical calculation and a number assigned with it. 3.4 defects per million opportunities. That's the standard definition.
Reduce variation.
Absolutely. It was honestly, be very honest. I was waiting for that word all this while.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So it was thanks, Tiffany. Like, so here, like Tiffany has also answered statistical approach to reduce the weight. Well, absolutely correct. Because when you talk about Six Sigma, purely, yes, we'll talk. See, right now, everyone wants to capture data. While you install an application in your mobile phone, they want permissions for your contacts, your SMS, your everything. Why is that? Because people understand that future will be controlled by people who have access to data and who can read and understand data better. So Six Sigma is again on the same lines. It's all about understanding the data. Like when you talk about Six Sigma, it's a statistical approach to reduce variation. That's what is gonna improve the process quality. So when you talk about reduce variation, we'll say that the variation is a defect. We'll come back to that. Which will, so basically statistical approach to reduce variation to increase effectiveness of the process. Now, not trying to find a perfect definition, trying to come up with the relevant terms which will be required for Six Sigma. The actual word is what we're looking for is the variation part. So when we say Six Sigma is a statistical approach to reduce variation, which will sort of in turn increase the effectiveness of the process. So what is this effectiveness? Honestly, that's a fancy term which we're looking at. That is nothing other than your quality percentage. So when we talk about Six Sigma, it improves the process quality percentage increases. How do you increase it, the quality percentage? When you reduce the defect, and we just mentioned variation. We'll talk about variation part. So in nutshell, when your defect reduces, your quality improves. Basic concept. But how do you reduce the defect? By statistical approach. It's a data-driven approach where you go about analyzing the data and you figure out why the defects are happening in your process. In simple terms, if you just want to talk about this, lean is what you see is what you improve. Lean core concept is observation. Whatever you go to, like, so we saw this process where this lady was moving around. We saw the process and we saw certain things which are not right. And it's obvious that things don't look right. And that's what we fix with lean. What is visible with your naked eyes, which that we solve with lean. When it comes to Six Sigma, this is where when you don't have the exact reason as to why the problem is happening. So what is not visible to you, when you tried, tested, and failed, that's when you use Six Sigma. It's not your first choice. So if you're trying to implement Six Sigma, when Six Sigma would come into picture, when you tried and tested and failed everything, you would have used your experience, your knowledge, your education, practically every possible thing. But the problem might have been settled, but again, it resurfaces again. You try to fix the problem again, it settles for some time, the problem resurfaces again. So it means that something is missing, and that's why the problem keeps coming back again and again, and that's what is when you apply Six Sigma. That means something is still missing. I see a temporary relief, but not a permanent one. That's where we probably are missing something. So when things are unclear, that's what was beyond what we see is. So where lean ends, Six Sigma journey will start there. Having said that, we still need to talk about this variation part. What is this variation thing? Let's kind of quickly talk about it. My favorite example is always my whiteboard marker. So I'll go back to that whiteboard marker. Say whiteboard marker is what one of my clients given me a target like that. They want a marker to be manufactured, which is 5.5 inches long. Specific target. That's what I need to work on. So I understand the requirement. I set my team to kind of manufacture these markers, and I got this markers manufactured. Few markers. This is the length of various markers that we manufactured. And let me just kind of let us take it care of. Let me just keep some more 5.5 here. Okay. Is this 5.5? No, that's a variation from 5.5. That's less than 5.5. This is less than 5.5. It's variation on the lesser side. That's a defect. Is this 5.5? No, that's again a variation from 5.5. That is also a defect in the customer eyes. That's good. That's good. But that's again a variation on the lesser side. That's again variation on the lesser side. That's again variation on the lesser side. You have lots of, this is variation on the higher side. That's again a defect. Well, this is again on the lesser side, variation. This is higher side variation, lesser side variation. So all these are variations, which is not on target is variation. What your target was 5.5. Anything which is more or less than the target is a variation. Variation from what is expected target. So when you apply Six Sigma, when you have such a problem, when you try, test it, and you're still not able to solve a problem, that's when you need to collect data and analyze this data with the help of statistical tools and techniques. You will be able to figure out why this variation is happening. If you know the reason, you will always have a solution. It's that we have not been able to figure out the real root cause, which is causing this variation. So which is causing the variation, which is the defect. So practically when you apply the statistical tools, you will be able to figure out why this is happening. When you know it, then pretty much it's no brainer. The only reason why you're not been able to solve because you've not been able to find what is actually causing this. If you don't know the disease, you would not have the medicine for it. So it's more about knowing what is actually causing the problem so you can have the treatment done. So first thing is to know the problem, the source, where it's originating from. That's what we will do with Six Sigma. So if when we say my process is working at a Six Sigma level, like anyone would like to tell you like what is my process quality in terms of percentage or any other metric in terms of Six Sigma, if my process is working at Six Sigma level. Any performance level, like say what is my quality percentage or something like on those lines.
There should be like 3.4 defects per million.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. You're right about that. So we talk about certain metrics with Six Sigma level. People generally refer to as 3.4 DPMO or 3.4 ppm, or we talk in terms of like percentage. What does you mean by 3.4 DPMO? It says 3.4 defects per million opportunities. 3.4 ppm means 3.4 parts per million. Now, pretty much meaning is the same. This both represent the Six Sigma level of performance. Different way of stating the same thing. It means that if you were given 1 million opportunities to find a defect, you would, like if you're given like this Marcus example, say, if you end up manufacturing 1 million marker, the probability of having a defective marker is just 3.4. Maximum up to 3.4 defects could be found, but that's almost like a zero defect. 3.4 in 1 million, it's almost like zero defect. But that's what is the beauty of Six Sigma. It's absolutely phenomenal level. And if I have to convert this into quality percentage, because generally we refer to quality things in percentage, the same performance level will be referred as 99.999666%. That is my process quality at the level of Six Sigma. So if I have to say my process quality in terms of quality percentage, this is a quality percentage. In terms of defect rate, I will say my process when it is creating a defect max up to 3.4 in a million, or we say that process is working at Six Sigma level. Now, it's important to memorize this. Well, there are certain things which we definitely should know, because whenever you face a job interview, see the first line of people who are probably the first, like it's where we generally refer them as gatekeepers. It's important to get past the gatekeeper. These gatekeepers, the first line of the first round of interview, these people are not technical. They're not the ones who are like Six Sigma certified professionals. So you would not be dealing with your master black belts in the first round. So it's important to get past this first round of people who will be probably taking your interview, and they might just ask you simple questions like this. They would be because there's a set of questionnaire which is available with them, and that's what they gauge and filter out people. So it's important to remember these basic facts. The more technical stuff will happen when you get into the next rounds of interviews. So it's first thing is to get past the first guy. So here, when we talk about performance level, these numbers we should kind of memorize by heart, because these are numbers associated with the Six Sigma. People will generally ask this question. If in the first round, not in the probably in the subsequent round, but in the first round, people will generally ask these questions. But before we move ahead, it's important to understand how good is Six Sigma. Let's say my process quality is 99%. Well, that's a great quality percentage. Well, 99%. Well, once upon a time, not any longer. While we say my process quality is 99%, that means my pass percentage of the process, the quality percentage, is 99 out of 100. That's what 99% means. And what's my fail percentage? 1 out of 100. That's because I have quality of 99%. So if I make one error out of every 100 opportunities, how many error will I make in a million, which is 6 zeros here? At 99% quality, the fail percentage will be how much? At 99% quality, how many defects will I make? 10,000? Yes, perfect. Yes. If I make one error in 100, I'll make 10,000 errors in 1 million at the same rate. In 1 in 100, so same proportion. It'll be 10,000. And what we are comparing it with Six Sigma here, which is 3.4 in 1 million. There are two worlds, like where there's no comparison between your Six Sigma and 99%. Once upon a time, yeah, about 20 years ago, it was still fine. You could become a market leader even with 99%. Well, today, if your process is working at 99% quality, then you are heading for trouble. Will soon be history because customer has become so intolerant. Well, they will not give you a second chance. You are just an option. There are so many service providers, so many manufacturers, people will switch their options because we are like, it was a manufacturer driven market. Customer barely had some choices like 20 years ago. But now, well, you need one thing, you have so many plenty of options to choose from offline market, online market, you can choose. Customer will not tolerate any defect. If your process is creating these many defects, then you are living dangerously. And that's why the world is trying to switch to the zero defect quality concept. And that's where Six Sigma comes into picture. So it's almost like a zero defect. But when we say Six Sigma level, Six Sigma level, what is this Sigma level? For when we say Sigma level. So let's understand what is this Sigma level. Technically, it's a weird definition, but that's what it is. Sigma level is not about how good you're doing, it's about how bad you're doing. It's a defect measuring scale. It's not about how good you're doing. We said, like a lot of people just said, like 3.4 DPMO. It measures your defect rate. It how bad you're doing. It's about Sigma level. So for example, we have 0 Sigma. Yes. We have 1 Sigma, 2 Sigma, 3 Sigma, 4 Sigma, 5 Sigma. Then we say 6 Sigma, 7 Sigma. It's a scale. Forget about any numbers. It can go on and on, never ending scale, never ending scale. It's just a scale like any other measurement scale. Similarly, it goes in negative side also. Do we have negative Sigma? Yes, we have negative, -1, -2, -3, and goes on and on. It's just a scale of measurement of defects. It just tells you that. Well, we say my process is working at 6 Sigma level. We say 3.4 defects in a million. So what it tells us that if your process is creating a defect, which is 3.4 in 1 million, you have reached to a 6 Sigma level. That's the stage. So if your process quality is just creating these many defects, you have attained a level of 6 Sigma. But the question here is it the best can we get? Or is it possible to get better? Are there any companies or industries working at better Sigma level than 6 Sigma? Yes, NASA. Yes, they are working at high 12 Sigma. Global standards. Yeah, 6 Sigma is definitely the standard, but is it better? Possible? Aviation? Yes, thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
we have. It's not the best. It's not the best. So we'll talk about aviation, NASA, your pharmaceutical industries. Yeah, these industries are critical industries where every single defect is a big crime, practically. Well, you think about a situation, would you be comfortable boarding a plane when you know that 1 million flights that will take off, 3.4 will crash? No. At least I won't be comfortable. But that's the defect rate. Aviation is bad. Like if you are working with 6 Sigma level in aviation, it's horrible Sigma level for them. Every single defect is a huge cost. Cost means that so many people can die, and moreover the cost as well. Obviously, the airplane. Pharmaceutical industry. Well, why there's so much of hue and cry about vaccine? Why can't you just make vaccine and give it to everyone? Why so much of waiting period, trials, well, approval? Well, so many people can die. These are one error and it could be a big disaster. And that's what we've seen disasters in pharma where people have taken up, where there were vaccines which were introduced and they were just approved. And so many people, and specifically referring to Philippines, there a lot of people died because of a wrong vaccine. And that was not properly, like the clinical trials were just done, and not for this COVID, even before that. So it is a big concern because at times when you kind of use certain medicines, the results don't, if the side effects don't show immediately, some results show quite late. And that's what the problems, the repercussions will come in. So there's always a waiting period before vaccines are approved. Unlike there was no choice in the COVID any which ways, but these are critical industries. These are critical industries, and that's why, since this is the need of the business, they have to be much better than 6 Sigma. This is bad for them. Well, technically, how you get beyond this level? Well, simply, since if you want to go beyond 6 Sigma, generally, you need automation. Up to 6 Sigma, Well, you can get with normal process improvement methodology, with your statistical controls, with your quality management stuff, with your project management. You can kind of still shape up your process and get to the level of Six Sigma. But if you want to improve anything beyond that, it's very, very difficult to take away the human error. And that's why you need your automation. And pretty much when you have your automation done, it takes you to absolutely new level. So we don't need automation. But in a nutshell, what we're trying to say here is, if defects reduces, sigma level increases. It's inversely proportional. Higher the sigma, lesser the defect. So simply higher the sigma level, lesser the defects. So it's good to have a higher sigma level. So these industries have higher sigma level, 12 sigma, 11 sigma. But for everyone else, these are selective, very rare industries and companies where we're talking about. But majority, if you talk about everyone, Six Sigma is the benchmark. It's a standard, because even if to get to Six Sigma, you will be a market leader in that industry. This is phenomenal level of performance. And honestly, if you want to hear, a lot of companies even don't want to go to Six Sigma level. And I'm happy, even if I'm at 4 Sigma, a lot of companies will still be fine. Well, it doesn't make sense for me. Well, even if I'm making like, so just think about a situation. We were talking about this marker manufacturing company. Do you think if this company is able to get to a level of 6 Sigma, well, what will be the defective markers? 3.4 in a million. Do you think this company would invest millions of dollars in automating their process where they can save 3.4 markers? No, it doesn't make sense. The return on investment is nothing. What's the cost of the 3.4 markers? Nothing. So this industry, this company will never want to go beyond Six Sigma, because that will require automation and huge investment. So for most of us, getting to a level of Six Sigma is a good enough thing. So pretty much it's a benchmark for everyone. Having said that, when the defect increases, well, if your defect rate of 50% is when your process is at 0 Sigma level. Your process defect rate is 0, 50%, you are at 0. So what it means that if defects increase, Sigma level drops. So higher the defects, lesser the Sigma level. And if defects are more than 50%, Sigma level will be negative. We'll see that in a moment. So pretty much this is just a scale which measures how good or bad your process is doing in terms of defect, and accordingly your Sigma level will be calculated. Now, there are multiple methods. Since you are going for a black belt program, we will understand about what the different belts are and what is the rules of different belts. But for now, like since you're going for a black belt program, there are various methods which are incorporated, which are manual method. We have formula-based method. We will be calculating Minitab based method. Like, so you will understand every possible way to calculate Sigma for any kind of data. It doesn't matter. So we will just kind of give you a quick perspective. Like, we're not going to get into explanation of it. It would be early for us to do that. But still, just to get the clarity, I will sort of give you a quick one-shot formula. We will not get into explanation of the formula right now, but remember, we will discuss everything in detail at a later stage. Say somebody gives me a defect rate and wants to find out what is the Sigma level at this so-and-so defect rate. So practically, I have a defect rate, like some random number, say 13% defect rate. What is my Sigma level? So when you talk about converting a defect into a Sigma level, here it is there's one Sigma which is we call as the long-term, Z for Sigma, LT for long-term. This is called long-term Sigma level. And then there is something called short-term. We'll kind of discuss it later. What is long-term, short-term Sigma level, or it's also referred as current Sigma level. Just for clarity here, just a small bit of clarity. This is the calculated Sigma level, calculated, and technically the actual Sigma level. We'll understand what is actual, what is fake one, but later on. Not used for reporting or communication, but it is the calculated one, the real one. This one is actually used for reporting and communication. So whenever people talk about Sigma level, even the Six Sigma, it's always the current Sigma level. It's always the one which is current Sigma level, which is used for reporting or communication. Any reports which will be prepared will only have the current Sigma level, not the long-term one. Well, we'll understand, but this is the actual one, which is long-term. We'll once we're done with this, we'll come back and sort of, we'll just quickly go and check this out. We'll all these formulas. Let's see how we do it. The formula, as I said, like we'll not get into calculation of this. I'm leaving the formula right here for you to go and try this out. Norm sin V 1 minus defect divided by total, close the bracket. When you get your long term, so to get short term, long term plus 1.5 fixed value. This 1.5 is fixed. We will get into under like clarity of that. Why 1.5? Not everything. So the few things, obviously, it will be way too early. Few things we'll understand later on. What is long term? What is short term? Why we add 1.5? All of that we'll get the clarity about that. But let's solve this one first. Norm sin 1 minus 13% means 13 out of 100. That's the defect rate, 13 out of 100. That's my long-term signal. Actual Sigma level of process is 1.12. How do I get my current Sigma level? Long-term plus 1.5. So I will say my process, when it has 13% defect rate, it has a Sigma level of 2.62 Sigma. So this will be used for communication. I'll say my current Sigma level or the process is 2.62 if my process is working with 13% defect rate. Let's pick up some more examples just to kind of get familiar and accustomed to this one. Formula will still remain the same. Only thing which is pending here is the explanation, which we'll get in later, because we have to understand a lot many things before that, before we get into the explanation. So say, for example, I did some audit and I found 119 defects out of, say, these many samples I audited. Say, hypothetically, this is the number of audits I did, and I got 119 errors. What is the Sigma level for my audit? Now, be 1 minus 119 out of 25877. That's what it is. That's your Sigma level if you were working on this one. That's for this audit, that's your Sigma level. Like, let's pick up 50%. Let's get the clarity, 50% defect rate. Pick up a couple of them and let's get over with this. Norm simply 1 minus 50 out of 100. 50 out of 100. That is 0 Sigma. 50% defect rate is 0 Sigma. But you end up saying it is 1.5 current Sigma level. Why? We will understand that but later. Let's pick up, if they see the negative one, say you have say 58% defect rate. Just to get a negative Sigma here, understanding of negative Sigma. Norm simply 1 minus 58 divided by 100. That's your minus negative sign here. That's negative Sigma, but will be reported as plus 1.5 as 1.29 Sigma. When your process has 58% defect rate, that's a Sigma. And in the end, let's pick up 6 Sigma. Why leave that 6 Sigma? We have been 3.4 defects in 1 million. Let's check this out. Simply 1 minus 3.4 out of 1 million opportunities. Plus 1.5 will be reported as 6 Sigma. So whenever people talk about Sigma levels, they always talk in the language of current Sigma. So we say 6 Sigma is 3.4 defects per million, but in reality, the actual Sigma level is this. But we'll get into that. But it is what will be used for communication. People will always send out reports, communicate in the language of current Sigma. But just this is just to give you a high level idea, like the way we have understanding what is lean, basic understanding about Six Sigma. By now, if you have seen so far, here we have all been talking about data. We are analyzing data, and that's what it is all about. Six Sigma is all about understanding data in a much better way. So is this okay and clear? I'll come back to the questions which are there in the chat, but just a quick check. Is it okay and fine with everyone?
Jesse, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just a quick one on that. So if you look at the 13% defect rate, it comes to 2.62. Is 2.62, is that classed as 7 Sigma, or is that 2.6 defects per million?
Which one we're talking about? Like
The 13% defect one, the first example you give on the column.
This is this one you're talking about, right?
Yeah, is that 2.62 defects per million, or is that sigma level 2?
No, that's sigma level. That's a sigma level. So if you have 13 defects out of 100, you can translate that into a million. Like, so if you make 13 defects out of 100, then it'll be like 13,000, like or like 113,000 defects in a million. So this is
that would be 2 sigma then, that 2.6 sigma level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to convert in million, just convert like 13 defects out of 100. So how many defects out of million? So that will be basic conversion.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Let me just quickly go back to the questions in the chat and we can move on here. There were questions here. What is the sigma, maximum sigma level industry can push for? See, Pooja, there is nothing as such. Well, it's never the end. So you can always strive to get better and better. So even aviation did not get to a 12 sigma directly. So it's never the end. As you keep reducing the defect, it goes higher. So there's never an end, and that's why we keep exploring. As of now, the evidence which is available so far is where you have reached up to 12 sigma levels, and that to an aviation and this NASA space programs. But yes, obviously that is still gives you some possibility of error, but in billions opportunities. So that is when you have very, very less likelihood of making an error, but still you want to get better. So there's never an end because it's just a scale. As your defect goes down further, your sigma level will improve. So there's no end to it in terms of sigma level. Let's go and check this out. For 13 sigma, yes, you can calculate for any possible defect. We'll have those formulas. You can find it for 12 sigma, 13 sigma, 15 sigma. You can find any sigma level, and accordingly how you can reverse calculation. So right now we did is converted defect from into sigma. You can do a reverse calculation also. If you have 20 sigma level, what will be my defect rate? You can do that. It's very easy. The way we did this formula for conversion of defect to sigma, we can convert sigma back to defect also. We'll do that as we move forward. So we can do it for any number. It's just about knowing the concepts, right? It will be fine. If defects are more than 50%, then effectiveness is 50%. You are right about that, George. Absolutely. Effectiveness is 50%. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let's move ahead with the next topic. So with this is just a basic. Today is going to be like more around basic understanding of it. Tomorrow we will step into define phase. So we'll talk about all those phases that we talked about. But yeah, tomorrow is when we will be able to get into define. Today's topics are more important from examination standpoint. Some bit of questions are going to come from basic introduction or off the Lean Six Sigma, but tomorrow onwards is going to be about actually the project journey. So first thing here is about history of Six Sigma, history of Lean. Where did it start? How did it start? Yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, Sashishar, but I just have one silly question.
Yeah,
it's like the way you've written 3.4 defects in a million, like in the formula which you've mentioned, is this right. How we are supposed to write it in while putting in the formula, or we can put it like with the 60?
So, yeah, you can write it like this also, like because I use the power sign, but you can use same way. 1 minus 3, like 1 minus 3.4, and you can do this.
Okay.
This is
so there are 2 ways to do it.
Yeah. So there was a power sign. So power sign I sort of used just to save on time of adding more. So I just added 10 to the power 6. It saves time. That's what, yeah. And that's fine. So basically, we will not get into too much of history because honestly, nobody bothers about knowing history in the real world when you're doing a project. But yeah, from exam perspective, some bit of interview question, it's good to know where did it start, how did it start. So some bit of whereabouts we should know. So the evidence of Lean getting implemented, where we have evidence available, it's more comes from Ford Motors. Well, Lean was not introduced by Ford. Having said that, the evidence of Lean getting worked out was done with Ford Motors. This was the CEO of Ford Motors was Henry Ford, and he sort of did something with this production plan, like which can be called as Lean, and that's what sort of started the entire journey. So it was like the older version, like not when we talk about car manufacturing companies, and practically every other manufacturing company used to work with something called crafts manufacturing. This was the method of manufacturing products. What used to happen in craft manufacturing, and specifically not talking about more the automobile, which is car, well, parts were stationary. And people used to move from one car rather, to another to like build a car. So this is where like it was like people were moving. So if people were moving with the spare parts from one car to another, the cars were stationary. So cars were not moving anywhere. So it was cars were stationary, people had to move and they have to drag all the spare parts with them. And that was a very, very slow process. And because of that constant movement, it used to cause a lot of damage to the spare parts. And there was a very, very slow process. So this is what we like talking about. Just to get rid of this. So this is, say, for example, a car is getting manufactured here. It is locked at a station here. It is locked. It's not moving anywhere. Another car is at some distance here. Now this is getting built here itself. There's another car which is getting built here. So these cars are locked at a station. So if I'm fitting in a bulb, I come to this car with all the bulbs and fit in the bulbs and then go on to the next car, fit in the bulb, and then go to the next car, fit in the bulb. And that's where the people were moving with the spare parts. If somebody is fitting in tires, then I will move with all the tires to this cars and fit in the tires, drag the remaining tires here. It was so slow process. It was very, very slow process. That's how globally the manufacturing was done. Well, it was, first of all, it was slow process. The production capacity reported numbers for lean at that point in time, like not lean, but Ford was 32 to 35 cars per month. That was their capacity, and lots of damage done to the spare parts because you're dragging them all this while. Well, they just changed the methodology of doing things. In 1908, that's when they changed it to assembly line concept. That's still date used as a method of production globally, assembly line, which we call as conveyor belt concept. Basically, here parts started moving, people became stationary. This speeded up. This speeded up the process of manufacturing by 3 to 4 times. Their production capacity increased. The concept of mass production started here with this logic, and everyone globally in different sectors also, they copied this method. This was great, and was no more damage was done. The parts. That's what, and this is where instead of people moving, what these guys did, they made the person sit here. So if I'm fitting in bulb, all the bulbs are here with me, and there's a moving belt here. So if somebody's fitting in tires, it's moving, sitting with all the tires right here. Somebody's fitting in, say, like something else in the car, say a horn or bulb, something else. This guy has all of it. The car comes in front of me, I fit in the bulb. This guy, the car moves to the next guy, he fits in the tires. Car moves to the next guy. No more movement. That speeded up the process. Their production capacity increased with the same number of people. That was phenomenal. And that's what was like industrial revolution part of it. The mass production was at its peak thanks to these guys introducing this concept. This is what is lean. You were able to manufacture, the people were able to manufacture things at much faster pace, and that is lean. Lean is all about time. People were able to manufacture multiple cars in lesser duration, but the word lean did not come from that. It came from Toyota. Toyota introduced the lean concept. The word was given by Toyota. They use the lean tools and they call it as Toyota Production System. Till date, they use this Toyota Production System. We call it as TPS. Well, quick background about Toyota. Well, Japan was was continuously engaged in war, and post the Second World War, when they were bombarded, the entire economy was in a bad shape, really, really bad shape. So with the limited infrastructure, the bad wrecked infrastructure, limited capital, the entire economy, like entire country, had to regroup again. There was a simple choice: either you file bankruptcy or you again, with whatever you have, create best out of it. And it's always said that necessity is the mother of invention. Well, you don't have a choice to move up north. So full and complete utilization of whatever resources are available. And that was the logic. So they understood that, and I'm talking about Toyota, that General Motors is a big name. Ford Motors, big name. They had a monopoly in the market in car. Well, you can't beat them in volume, but yes, There's one thing where we can beat them is quality. We might produce less cars, but our cars would be the best cars. They would be customer centric, they would be comfortable, reliable, less costly, and that's what they did. They manufactured the Toyota cars, keeping the end customer in mind. What would be beneficial for the customer? And that was a masterpiece which they practically crafted. When people started using Toyota cars, very less cars, but when they got into the market, people loved Toyota cars like anything. Well, they were fine with the cost was much cheaper, reliable, comfort, everything was great. And soon, obviously, quality picked up when the people started recognizing, and the investors started pulling in money in the Japanese companies. Not only Toyota, every other Japanese company were like they were optimizing lean to the fullest, and practically investors started pulling in money, and the problem of capital was resolved. So they made a huge dent in the Ford market and the General Motors market. They became big. So we'll talk about the lean part. We'll discuss about this, but this is how sort of lean evolved with time. But having said that, this was the reason why Six Sigma came into existence. History of Six Sigma started just because of lean. Well, this lean was hampering other players in the market in a different domain. Yes, because they were counter complex. So this Six Sigma started in Motorola. Now, Motorola was headed by Bob Galvin. Bob Galvin was the CEO of Motorola. They were in a bad shape, but these guys had a monopoly in two products. One was Motorola pagers, and second was Motorola walkie-talkie, which is used by police, security guards, and all. So these guys were so big, like if you can go out on YouTube and check out video, you'll find the video of the first communication which happened from moon to NASA. This guy who's holding a mic has a Motorola logo on it. They were big. Practically, there was no competitor for them. Now there were new companies in Japan which were blossoming, and pretty much they were manufacturing pages which were much cost effective than Motorola. Motorola started getting tough time for the first time. There was competition in the same trade. There were walkie-talkies manufactured by some Japanese companies, which was loved by everyone. Motorola started losing market share significantly, and that's what prompted Bob Galvin to kind of because investors were pulling out money from Motorola. They were bleeding in a bad shape. Because first time they were sort of experiencing the heat of competition. Now, that's when he called upon his senior scientist. His name is Bill Smith. He's called as father of Six Sigma. Well, he was the one. Another gentleman along with him, spelled as Michael Harry, Dr. Michael Harry, spelled as M-I-K-E-L. He is referred as co-architect of Six Sigma. He worked along with Bill Smith to put together this Six Sigma. Well, in 1986, they announced it to the world that we have come up with something called Six Sigma, a new term for everyone. What is Six Sigma? Nobody knew. Well, they said this could give you a process quality as 99.99966%, which means that the maximum probability of defect is 3.4 in million. Well, that was a shocker for everyone. Well, but even Japanese got shock of their life. But is that also possible? Because during that time frame, even 90% quality was a game changer. So with the lean, Japanese was striking about 99% kind of quality. But honestly, with lean, you can't go beyond that. It can only solve what is visible. So getting to a 99% quality, well, these Japanese people had mastered it, and that's where they were becoming market leader. And now this was an unbelievable number, which was it was a game changer for everyone. And thanks to this Six Sigma, Motorola regained everything, the market share, the investors sale, they solved every problem. But thanks to Bob Galvin, he was a very noble soul. He wanted the entire industry to benefit from this Six Sigma. So they invited people to come to Motorola facility and come and see what is this Six Sigma. We want you all to benefit. So a lot of companies visited the Motorola facility, saw how Six Sigma projects were done. People learned it, and they conducted seminars, and big companies, bigger than Motorola, but in a different trade, stepped in. Allied Signal, which is still there, one of the big companies, much bigger than ABB, Asian Brown Boveri, which they still use Six Sigma predominantly. It was one of the big companies. Honeywell. These companies stepped in and they used Six Sigma for implementing and solving the business problems. And they started reporting huge benefits, much more than Motorola, because they were big. The volume was big. So their cost saving, not I'm talking about revenue, cost saving was in billions of dollars. But people don't make revenue of that month. They were doing cost saving because of Six Sigma in billions of dollars. This became talk of the town. And finally, the biggest game changer stepped in. 1995 is when General Electric stepped in and picked up Six Sigma, headed by Jack Welch. Jack Welch was the CEO of General Electric. Well, these guys imbibed Six Sigma and they made it so popular. Today, what we know of Six Sigma is thanks to General Electric. But they are so huge, they used it for themselves. They used Six Sigma for their clients and they became consultants of Six Sigma. That you got a problem, hire us as consultant, we'll solve that for you. Well, they made it very, very popular. When we will study Six Sigma, we'll study this in 5 different phases. DMAIC, DMAIC phase. But D stands for define, M for measure, A for analyze, I for improve, and C for control. 5 different phases. What do you do in every phase? Define phase is all about selecting the right project. Well, you may be dealing with so many problems in an organization. Well, you cannot solve world's hunger in one day. Well, you got to select the right project. You don't have abundance of people, money. So with limited money, limited people, you have to solve the most critical problem. So you can't pick up any project. You have to pick the right project. So that's what you do in define phase. This is purely project management. That's why I said don't install Minitab. Initially, we don't need it. When you have the measure, like when you decided what will be your project, then you get into measure phase. Measure phase is all about collecting reliable data for analysis, because Six Sigma is all about data. If your data is wrong, your project will go in a wrong direction. So it's more about baselining the process. Where do you stand now? How bad is the situation? That's what you do. Again, this one is where you need Minitab. Quality management and statistics is what will be required here. So we'll go through this. Analyze phase is all about using various statistical tests. So statistical tests are performed to find the root cause, why you are facing the. So we must have tried and tested everything, but now with the help of statistical tools, we'll go into details of it and we'll find out actually what is the real root cause. If you find it, then pretty much it's no brainer. Anyone can solve. If you know the problem, you always have a solution. So this is again quality management and statistics. Improve phase, you achieve the target, whatever the management gave you, like sales target, cost reduction target, quality target, whatever target, you achieve the target. Again, statistics involved here. Control phase is all about sustain the improvement. The best part about Six Sigma project is that you don't go back to the original state. If you achieve the level, it will always be sustained. And thanks to control phase, that's what is more critical. And that's where, again, this is back to quality management statistics. Having said that, let me tell you here, well, Six Sigma people were biggest copycat, like specifically these two gentlemen are Bill Smith and Michael Harris. They did nothing in the last phase, but this control phase is primarily about control charts. Control charts were developed in 1920s. Six Sigma came in 1986. Well, these people just copied and pasted the control charts. These were introduced by Dr. Walter Schubert in 1920s. They were tried and tested, successful everywhere. People were already using it in different industries to control the process statistically. Well, they just copied and made a control phase. Or there was no contribution here, at least from Six Sigma perspective. They just used an existing theory, which was working, and tried and tested. So control phase comes into picture. The entire gist is like you have, this is a process, how you implement this methodology to solve the business problem. Well, when the original this Motorola version of Six Sigma was invented, this was Motorola version. Motorola version had only 4 phases. MAC, measure, analyze, improve, and control. That's all. General Electric, when they picked it up, they were the one who introduced D. So earlier MAC became DMAIC. So DMAIC is when, since G has picked it up, it became DMAIC. DMAIC has become popular. So, well, they said definitely you have got a great method, but before you select a project to solve, you must understand you can't pick any project. So doing proper research about selecting the right project, using right project management tools to understand which project needs to be selected is more critical. So that's how the journey started about Lean and Six Sigma, the history part of it. This is what we like, will be good to kind of go ahead with this. Is it okay and clear with everyone? All right, then let's do one thing.
Yes.
So it's more like the time we can take a quick 15 minutes break as per your respective time zone. Let's connect in next 15 minutes and start again. Yeah, I will be sharing all of it. I will be sharing. So probably in case you got in late, I will be sharing all of it. When we come back from the break, I will quickly explain what are the links were. So I'll share that. All right, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Are we back from the break?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. So let's get started. Next, so basically, from here on, we would definitely want to kind of understand the way Six Sigma gets implemented. So we usually talk about frameworks of Six Sigma. So is it one way of DMAIC? The answer is no. That's not only one way, but that's the most common method. 99% of the time, you will always be going with DMAIC approach, which is define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. But the other versions also. So frameworks of Six Sigma is what we will be discussing. So first, we already have it here. So we have DMAIC framework. We'll understand when to use this method. That's DMAIC. And the other version is DFSS. Well, that stands for Design for Six Sigma. First thing first, where do we use a DMAIC? See, I am dealing with the process, manufacturing or service, whatever it may be, but I'm happy with the way things are going on. But I strongly believe that I can do better. There's a scope for improvement. So you want to optimize the process. You want to increase the process quality, efficiency. So there is a scope for improvement, for betterment. So when we talk about scope for improvement, that means you are talking about there is an existing process, first of all, which needs an improvisation. You need to make it better. So that's why we implement a DMAIC method. Say there is a process where this is too much of problems, complaints, escalations, contractual misses, things are not going as per plan, but still there is an existing process which has scope for improvement. So where you have an existing process, that means you have existing data, old data is available with you. So here, data is available with you since it's an existing process. So where you have an existing process, you can always go with DMAIC. And that's why I said 99% of the time, you will always be using DMAIC approach. To solve your business problems, you will be using this because we all have processes. So wherever we work, we have process, we have data, which is what we're working on. So we can go with Six Sigma work through DMAIC. The other version is when you are creating something new. There's no existing data. You're creating a new product, service, design, process, statistically, as per customer requirements. So you design and develop something new. This is not about existing process. So in a very, very simple term, say for example, I am into software industry and one of my client, who has been using my software services is happy. Well, one fine day he visited his friend and his friend is using probably a different software, which is like way too advanced. It has graphs, charts, analysis, just with a single click, sends an email to thousands of people. Well, he got fascinated. So he comes back and says, Shashi, I want you to give me similar features in my software. Well, my response is pretty clear. I'm so sorry. Well, the features that you're talking about, that cannot be incorporated in your software. The one which you're using, it's an old technology. The platform is different. The language, the coding is different. I cannot implement those features in this one. Well, if you need one, I can make one for you. But this existing software, this platform technology is quite outdated, but it's still working. But the one you're talking about is advanced stuff. Well, I can make one for you. Let me know what your requirements are. And based on your requirement, I can design and develop a new software as per the latest technology. So you're creating something new. You're not improvising the previous one. You're understanding the customer requirements first. And as per that, you're designing and developing a new software. That is why we talk about DFSS, creating something new, not improving the previous one. Now, here, this works out in two different methods, DMA, DV. This has another version, which is IDOV. The two ways how this is implemented. DFSS is implemented by two different methods. One is DMADV, which stands for define, measure, analyze, design, and verify. And IDOV stands for identify, design, optimize, and verify. So whichever version we may talk about, we're still talking about DFSS. Practically, this is research and development people's bread and butter. So if you are from research and development teams, then pretty much that's what you deal with. This is what you do in research labs. Even your COVID vaccines, they have come from the same version. So you design and develop the COVID vaccine in a research lab. Well, you do not have historical data. When this COVID started, well, nobody had any clue, well, how to deal with this one. When would the vaccines come in? Will it take 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years? No idea about that. So when this research started in designing and development of a new vaccine, which we had no clue about. So it's always done on a small scale, like you go and do some bit of clinical trials. So the volunteers who participate in the activity, who go for the clinical trials, you perform the test on some people. With that data been collected, you do your statistical testing, and you see whether if it works on these people, would it work for everyone? Well, that's when the efficacy rate of different vaccines are looked into. We will be doing a lot of statistical tests, so you'll understand what goes into those testing. So all in all, designing and development of something, but this is like designing a new car with a better mileage, with but we have been hearing about a lot of things which are like a lot of innovation. So this is where you sort of create something new based on the need of the industry. You probably want to come up with some innovative thing, inventions that will go through research and development part of it. Now, the difference between DMADV and IDOV, which we need to definitely understand. When we talk about DMADV and IDOV, here you create a new product. Say I'm going with a new product, which is new for the company, but not new for the world. That is DMADV. Well, when you create a new product, which is new for the company, but and for the world. This is innovation. So let's talk about one by one, both of them. What is DMADV? Off lately, I've been hearing about Tesla is going to launch this phone Pi. Is it a new product for Tesla? Yes, Tesla has always been into this aerospace stuff, which is SpaceX, or for that matter, these electric cars. Now, Tesla getting into mobile, well, that's a new product for them, definitely, yes. Is it new for you? No, you already have so many mobile phones already in the market. We have the best of the phones, which are already there. We're all using such phones. So it's not new for us, but yes, it's a new product line for the company. This is slightly easier to get done. When it comes to IDOV, this is new for the company, new for the world too. This is real invention. That's where the COVID vaccines will be counted. Well, you have nothing to look at least in the first case. I have existing competitor in the market, the best in the industry. So I'm planning to launch a product. I already know who will be my toughest competition. I can buy that product. I can use the services. I can say if it's a product, then I can dismantle the product. I can ask my scientists, the research and development team, the engineers to look at the product, study the product, and create a better one than that. So you have something to look at, something to study. You can take survey feedback from the people and design and develop a better one. It's a lot more easier than the next one because you have no idea how it looks like COVID vaccine. Nobody had any clue about this. This is where this is a new one. So the companies who were given the licenses, who got the COVID vaccines designed and developed, pretty much they work with IDOV version. But now if a new company wants to get into COVID vaccines manufacturing, they will be going under DMADV. Is there already a lot of information available? Yes, you have so much of data available about people have been vaccinated by in different countries to different vaccines. You have a lot of data like about the genetic sequence, you know about the mutations, you know a lot of information. So now these companies, when they come up with a vaccine, they are going to work with DMADV because there's already existing product in the market. Well, IDOV is pure invention. So whether you work with DMADV or IDOV, well, there's only one tool, which is a common tool for DFSS. That is what we call as design for experiments. Statistical designing of product or service is going to be done through this design. We will cover DOE. This is called design of experiment, DOE, and it is going to be covered when we go ahead and discuss. This is towards the end. If I show you the link, this is what I was showing you certain links that we have. In the end, we have DOE. We will cover that up. So this is something where we'll get to know how statistical designing is done in case of real world scenario. So people do it. It's all in here. When you use Minitab, it is how industrial designing are done. So pretty much all those design development is out here. So statistically design developments validate, is it really working or not? So when these clinical trials happen, they happen for some people, but based on that, they are given the approval that whether it will work for everyone. We will be performing those statistical tests also, which is practically performed by any other people in the real world scenario. So this is something little complex. I would say little complex, a little confusing too. Tricky subject, yes. But if you understand this once, well, then pretty much this is the best tool that you have. Well, this is used in DMADV, or IDOV for that matter. DFSS is the where this is the tool which drives all this stuff. If I know this advanced statistical tool, can I use it for my regular projects? Absolutely, yes. You have a knowledge of advanced tool. Why can't you use it? Well, people who go for a green belt training, we'll talk about now green belt, black belt stuff like all that thing. But people who undergo green belt training are not exposed to DOE. This is a little more complex. But having said that, to understand DOE, you need to understand this first, because the statistical tools and techniques that we learn here will be applied here itself. So same thing. So to get understanding of DOE, you need to get through this first. And then this is where everything will get merged together at one go. And that is how you use DOE. So it is very, very important, very, very fascinating to kind of use this DOE. It makes, see, the best part about this DOE is that system will tell you what to do to get a desired output. Rather than you trying hit and trial, system will tell you do this A, B, C, D, and you get this next result. So you can lot of, and this is how statistical design is, and we'll check this out when we get there. Okay. One question is here: if we have a mobile company comes up with a new version of mobile, it will be DMADV unless you come up with something which is not there. Like we've been hearing about Tesla, so I would not count Tesla under the phone, the Pi phone under DMADV, because it is coming up with some features which are unbelievable. That those features, because of that, for those features, we will count that into IDOV. Those features are unbelievable features, which probably Pi is going to come up with. So I hope when it comes in, that's when the real explanation will be available. Shreya, please go ahead.
Shashi, as you said, the COVID-19 vaccine is the IDOV product or IDOV for that particular industry, but it will be IDOV for the first invented COVID vaccine. If COVID Shield is the first one, that will be the IDOV, right? And the after one, if we other type of vaccine, it will be the DMADV.
Yes, because see, it is now you have information available. It's not new for the world. People already know it. So it's not going to be new for anyone. Like, so going forward, it will be DMADV, because you have, unless you come up with something different, like you don't have medicine as of now. You do have vaccines, but you don't have medicine. So yes, we're still waiting for some IDOV out there. So companies are working on medicine, because vaccines, we know it's about prevention, but what if, so vaccines will just help you not to get infected and will protect you. What if it still happens? Vaccine will not work you. So about the medicine part, we're still waiting it to come in.
Yes.
So that is more about, like, we'll get into the details of this. Basically, the DOE is what we have to understand, because here the data collection, the analysis, the verification, all of it happens in DOE itself. So all of it's a complete package. DOE is one test, it's a complete package, standalone tool. You can solve problems. Like we have applied this DOE for banks. It's not about designing a product also. You people have been using it for various things. You can so we did it for a bank where they had to optimize the revenue, the cost of in the advertisement they were spending to acquire more and more market. So they wanted us to come up with a formula which tells you, well, spend this amount of money, this is your target audience, and this is what you will get, pretty much. So give the combination, like, would it be print media or an online option? If it's online with Google AdWords or Facebook, how much budget would be okay? $100, $200, or for that matter, would you be showing this ad to like a male or female age group give the right combination where it tells you will do these things and you get the desired output, and you can design. So when you get the concept right, you can apply it anywhere. It's a great tool. It's a complete package in itself. So all that we will learn in DMAIC is all going to be put together in one lot, and that's when you call it as DOE. Yes, George, you have a question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Just wanted to understand now, see, if I'm coming up with some new product and, the basic research starts with, does it exist in the world or not? So then it's getting divided. Once I identify, yes, the world knows it, or no, there's nothing like this in the world, then only I can able to get in between DMADV or IDOV.
Yes. When it comes in the market. So that's why I say, like, we are still contemplating whether I will call the Pi phone that is going to come in as a DMADV or IDOV. Although it's a phone, we already have phones in the market, but they claim to come up with something which has not been seen so far. So that's going to disrupt this mobile manufacturing industry. That's what they claim to see. Well, I have high hopes from this gentleman. So I hope so. They're going to come up with some features which are unbelievable. And this is definitely, so when it comes in that, when we will be in a right shape to call it as, if it's a regular, say, for example, we already have say 64 megapixel camera. You give me 128 megapixel camera. That's just an advancement. That will be DMADV. But what if you give something unbelievable? That's one will be, we say, more of an innovation, a new thing which has come in the market. Getting an advanced feature will not be counted as an IDOV.
Got it. So before we move into this process, does the identification whether it exists in the world or not is one step higher than this, right?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So what do we call that?
So if it exists already in the market?
Yeah, the research whether it is existing in the market or not. That's the first level before we move on to this research, right?
Yeah, so there's no such asset, like, because these are more from a like implementation perspective. These are frameworks. So there is no research, there is no separate terminology for because these are Six Sigma frameworks. So they could be like, you could just call them a market research or whatever, like, because that's more of a generic term. But these are frameworks of, like, DMAIC is a framework. These are also framework for implementing and solving a problem. But that could be just termed as a normal research work, like a market research or whatever. But these are the frameworks, how you go about designing and developing all of them.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. How about using the technology from RNA vaccines or doing friends or not? Yeah. So all these, see, when we're talking about, if there is something which has not been seen so far, yes, that will fall into an IDOV category, because that's something new. Invention is what we have not seen it before. Something new that's not been experienced so far. Advancement is in DMADV, but not been seen so far is the IDOV. So inventions will come here, and the upgradation is about DMADV. Because you want to get better than what is already existing in the market. That's when it's DMADV. I hope Adson, it clarifies the question. Oh, perfect. Now, moving on to the next thing, which is about knowing what are the different belts, like whichever belt, or we talk about a Six Sigma, green belt or black belt, when they implement these frameworks or to solve a business problem. See, the typical way of implementation of any Six Sigma framework, it goes with a simple logic, where you have like in a real traditional world, we have a real world problem. That's what we have. We have business problem that we want to solve. With the help of our knowledge, skills, experience, we come up with some sort of solutions, and we implement the real world solutions. And I understand they work. Well, most of the solutions work, but in certain cases, the solutions don't work as expected. And we try to solve it, the problem reoccurs. So there would be certain situations when you implement based on real world problem, but you implement real world solution, you don't get the desired output, don't get the result. What you do in Six Sigma is that you have similar situation, real world problem that you want to solve. But what you end up doing in between is convert this real world problem into a statistical problem with data. And this statistical problem is then converted to a statistical solution. So this is where you know exactly how to solve this problem. Statistically, you have the validation. When you know it works, then you go about implementing a real world solution. And again, going back to the COVID vaccine, clinical trials were conducted, data was collected, and tried to figure out, did the vaccine work? Like we just had like 40, 50, 100 people, sort of whatever people, number of people who took the clinical trials, vaccinations, where they could have gone wrong. So there was good to have those volunteers who volunteered to kind of try those vaccines on them. But yes, there was some data collected, and that's when the solution was developed. And then we validated, did the solution work? So the immunity level was measured before taking the vaccine, and immunity level was measured after taking the vaccine. And that's how they found that the change in the immunity level, that's the efficacy rate that you're talking about, that was a great deal of improvement. And that's when you know it works. Well, roll it out. That's what the rollout. So here, it's when you go for the real world implementation, you exactly know it's working. So it's not a maybe situation, because you know it works. So that's where we sandwich the statistical approach in between the real world problem and real world solution. There is an in between the data part of it. So whenever we go with implementation of any Six Sigma framework, these things will come in between. Now, having said that, the rules part of it, like people who will be implementing Six Sigma project, the rules and in Six Sigma, basically, what are we supposed to do at various belts? But before we get there, I guess there's some question out here. Let's quickly take this out. If a business with an existing system tool, but you would like to change the logic using the same system. So if you see, if you're working with, say, DMAIC is when you are using the existing data to enhance the existing process. When you talk about DMADV, you're sort of creating a new product line. That's new thing. You don't have it there. So you're probably just changing the system and you're still improvising the same process. It will be DMAIC only. You're not creating something new. You're just changing the within the process to make it better. So that will be a DMAIC. Tiffany. I hope that answers your question. Okay, perfect. Coming to the belts and roles in Six Sigma. So we all have gone for a master's course here. Now we got to understand what are we doing here in terms of what we are losing here practically. No, you're not losing anything. Thanks that we have this, at least see, this is a lot of institutions are there, and it's more of a marketing gimmick. Just to kind of give you a quick heads up, there are various belts in the Six Sigma. So we have a white belt, we have a, this is a hypothetically, this is the entire syllabus that you need to learn in Six Sigma. That is what we call as black belt. Everything that you need to learn is your black belt part, 100%. Now, if I don't teach you 100%, I just teach you, say, 5% of it, that portion is what I call as white belt. This is only initial introduction part. If I cover the white belt and the 5% part I covered here is when I covered like that 5% plus extra 5%, which I say you are sort of a yellow belt trained. So this portion, if I cover, this is more, you have covered a yellow belt journey, which covers the white belt journey as well. Then pretty much if you go for a green belt, you go until 60% here. Say, for example, this is your 60% lot. So if you're taking a green belt course, so by default, you're going through a white belt, you're going through a yellow belt content, you are going through the remaining portion. So you, as a green belt, you covered all these three belts, the white belt, the yellow belt, the green belt. But when you're taking a black belt directly, you are covering everything and you're not doing a repetition of it. But I'll tell you why it is beneficial for us to do this way. Why? Because if you are, I guess somebody is, okay. So basically, when we talk about taking up these belts, see, if I just go for a green belt, what will happen? If I just go through a green belt program, I will cover this 60%, I will get green belt, and I'm just taking the green belt certification. So I take a green belt, but after say 6 months or so, I decide now I should switch to black belt now. Now what I will do is I'll again sit through the black belt training. I'll definitely pay for a black belt again, but I'll have to go from this portion and cover up the 60% again, and then go to the black belt. That's where it'll be repetition of the same thing twice. So practically, when I know I need to go till black belt, there's no point in repeating it. Well, the same stuff, 60% of portion will still be repeated. What you additionally get to understand is this 40%. So when you know for sure the journey has to go till black belt, there's no point in waiting. Just complete all of it at one go. So when we go through this training program, you will have, you will be ready to give you an assessment for your yellow belt, for your green belt, and definitely for the black belt. So what do you learn in every belt? Let's kind of quickly talk about as white belt. White belt, well, first of all, you don't become a part of a Six Sigma project. It is just an awareness training. Probably a case studies explain like how people have implemented Six Sigma in your industry. So you get familiarized with it. So basically you want to develop the awareness around it. So tomorrow you plan to do a Six Sigma project. You don't want people to come back and question, well, like, what is the Six Sigma, the acceptability part. So yes, this is more about sensitization of your staff. If you want to conduct a white belt training, but this is typically like 2 to 3 hours training at the maximum. How long will the case study take? Well, 2 to 3 hours practically, that's just more than enough. That's all. But you can't become a Six Sigma professional with this simple case study. Here it's more about basic elements of knowing what is in a part of Six Sigma. That's all we got to understand in 2 to 3 hours. That's all. But no such tools and techniques are explained, no statistics, nothing. Just with basic case study. You really start becoming part of project as a yellow belt. Yellow belt, yes, you are a member of the project, but you don't lead a project. You're not a project leader as a yellow belt, because generally a yellow belt training typically can be a one-day training at the max. In corporates, when you do it, well, in corporate it's different because they want more intensive training. So they want some portion of green belt also to be on it. So that's where we went to a corporate training. It's generally a 2 days training, but typically globally people just go for one-day training. And if you talk about it's not a corporate training happening then. Yes, you learn DMAIC, DMAIC version, but an overview of it. What do you see in Lean, Six Sigma, defined phase? What are the different tools and techniques used? Obviously, you can't learn everything in a 1 day's time frame. So you kind of get to know overview of every phase. So these people will be really, really important for us. Why? Because when you conduct the project, you need people who understand your language. Well, you can coordinate with them, you can communicate with them in the language of Six Sigma. It will not sound an alien word. Like if I say, we have to do a ANOVA hypothesis where we have to go and collect the data. We're doing a fishbone diagram. We're going to make a control chart. They understand the terminology. So you will be able to get your work done. You're not the one who's going to run in different direction. You're the strategy maker. You're the one who's going to do the analysis. Somebody needs to do the job. And yes, you need yellow belts for that. Yellow belts will follow the instructions that you kind of give it to them. So you definitely need yellow belts, and you will be responsible for creating these yellow belts in the organization where you work. When you're starting a project, you will be responsible for creating a team which is at least yellow belt trained. You will give them a formal education about this, like what needs to be done. So you kind of have the team who understands the language. Otherwise, it'll be very difficult. You can't do it on your own, all of it. So you need to have the team who's ready to work and get things done. So yellow belts are there, but project leaders will start at green belt. Okay, well, one quick question here. So I'm new to this. So without practical experience, we can have beneficial. Yes, you can directly go. So we've been doing these black belt trainings for even college students. So I'm telling you like this, and people from India can definitely will be able to kind of understand this. We've been I've done exactly the same training for most of the IITs within India, most of the IMs within India, like most of those big universities and colleges that you can think of within India. Almost have covered all of them. Been doing this training regularly for most of these IMs and IITs in India. And having said that, when you talk about this, there are a lot of people who are freshers, who have no experience whatsoever, and it's absolutely fine. See, there's basic stuff when you go these are very prestigious institutions in India. When I did had a word with them to understand why do you need, because you get a campus placement, you get picked up, you are the cream practically. If people want to pick up from these institutions like IITs and IIMs in India, they're prestigious institutions. So why do you need it? And the answer was pretty satisfying for me. When these recruiters come in, they ask whether you have understanding of Six Sigma. What was good sign that we're heading we're in the right place. So even the recruiters are coming and doing the top-notch institutions. They are looking for people who are Six Sigma trained, like, so be it a green belt or black belt, because in the corporates now want ready material. Nobody has time to spend time and money on your training. So practically they want ready material. So it's absolutely fine spending some time in industry and then coming back and learning it. It's right to get started the right way. So it's always going to be beneficial. Where is the green belt and black belt certifications? Like in every possible industry, think about, like, there's no industry which is left over. Well, Six Sigma is used in every possible industry. Chemical engineers, we've dealt with a lot of them. It is without any doubt, so that it is used. Chemical engineering, it will be definitely required. It is, the people are, we've trained like a lot of people in public batches who are chemical engineers also. So it is applied almost in every possible industry. I can try and look for some case studies which were in the chemical industry, is some case studies on chemical industry. If I can try to search over the weekend, I'll see if I can get that. So there are, yes, Mohsin. Yeah, please.
Okay,
please
my question is like, the training which we have attended so far, where do we stand? Are we on a white belt?
We will be a sort of a yellow belt at this stage. So that's where we go.
At this stage, we've
sort of not completed yet yellow belt, because we haven't talked about DMAIC tools. That will be just an overview of it.
Okay. And now the other question is like, in the organization that we are working right now, they do not use lean management or Six Sigma methodology. So how do we get the experience of, just like what you said, that a yellow belt certified person will have the basic understanding and will be working under the black belt person,
right?
So to get our practical knowledge, so how do we get up to that if we don't have that experience?
Very right question, sir. So first of all, thank you for asking the question here. So first of all, there are a lot of companies where we don't have a Six Sigma culture. Absolutely no. So when you talk about industries where they're already a culture, well, then pretty much there's no problem. When there are companies where there are no Six Sigma culture there, it's very important to understand that when we seek for a project of Six Sigma to be implemented in a culture, in an organization where there's no culture, it will be difficult to get through. So first of all, getting the first recommendation is always to get a simulation project done, for which I will be sharing data so you can work on a simulation project. That's the first thing, because that's as good as doing a project in real world, because that's what recruiters always keep, that all recruiters understand that having not everyone has a Six Sigma, may not have the provision to work on a Six Sigma project. So they understand, at least if you don't have experience of working on a real life project, then at least you would have done a simulation project, because you exactly do the same job in a real world project. You've got to know how to analyze the data and how to prepare that. So if you have that level of understanding, you are good to go. That's what's highly recommended to do a project, because it's not mandatory, because a lot of people may not want to do it, but yes, people who want to do it should go and do it, because it's highly recommended. It will definitely add a lot of value on your profile. So coming to the second point, well, if we're working wherever we are and I need to get Six Sigma implemented, you may not get the direct approval, to be very honest. What you need to do is, with a lean Six Sigma, we will learn about lots of tools and techniques, lots of them. You just don't need any kind of investment or approval to get most of the tools implemented. You can collect the data with whatever data is going on in your organization, whichever pain areas, the challenges we have, collect the data, analyze the data, understand what is the current standing. Make a draft of that. This is the current performance level. And you can use some of these tools and techniques without any extra budget and extra approval. You can implement that. And just by implementing these tools, you will see a considerable change also without doing a project, because there's lots of tools in it. And those tools itself are capable of kind of improvising the current performance level. You have the improvement, collect the data again on the improved process, and then again do the statistical study and help them understand. That's when you present data. Don't ask for a project, let them give you the project. That's the right way to do get a project experience. Show them the evidence first. Show them that how it is capable of solving the problem. So when you demonstrate it, then you don't have to ask for it. You get an approval by default. You will be given a project rather than you seeking an approval. Show them, well, this is what we have done. Like we haven't like gone through so-and-so training. We've completed our black belt certification. And like I just implemented, and like, for example, to name them, say, collecting the data, validating the authenticity of data, to know the process sigma level, to set up the control charts, to put in the risk management framework in place. Just by doing these basic elements, and there are a lot of tools which we'll talk about, you can improve the existing process even without a project. So then collect the data, quantify the improvement, that this is without a project, without a specific project, without a team. Well, then you don't have to. Data speaks for itself. Then it'll be fairly easy to kind of go through it. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Right,
and would it be okay to say that we've covered the white belt?
Yes, definitely yes. So
that's cool to know.
Yeah, so okay, and there are some questions which are related to specific industry. Like, let me do one thing. See, it may not be possible to kind of cover up right now this because it's pretty long. But having said that, I would not like to leave and miss out these questions here. So what I'll do, because I will copy this and I will respond to this these questions. Like the Google Drive, same Google Drive that we have, I can answer this question and place the answers there if it's okay with everyone. Like, because there are some questions which are related to a specific industry and something which is off the top, but there's no harm in answering. But given that if we go through it, we might not be able to cover up what we need to. So there are some questions. So I will copy all these questions and I'll keep it, and I'll kind of answer those questions, share the answers to all the questions in the Google Drive. And if we still need a clarity, we can touch base over phone, WhatsApp, whichever way it will work. So I'll take them up. So if you have questions, do please post it there. In case I would miss out to kind of take up your question here, I will definitely respond to by answering it. So simulation project I would recommend definitely go through it. It's worth. So after that, you don't need to mug up anything because you would have lived that journey yourself. You would know exactly on your tips. No, nothing to memorize. You know exactly what needs to be done. So once you've done a simulation project, don't need any hand holding, nothing. So
one important question.
Yeah.
When do we have to give the assessment for yellow belt?
When we're done with this entire when you go with the entire training, then go and pick up a day, do your green belt, do your yellow belt training certification, then go for a green belt, then go for black belt. Get your entire project at the training completed, then go and give one by one in the order of yellow belt, green belt, and black belt. That's how the industry, like wise people, sort of graduate. So give it in the same sequence, but after the training is over.
Okay, after the entire course, right?
Yeah, because we yet to kind of talk about various tools, and we will go by phases. So it will take some time, but yes, that's when you go. It will barely take like an hour test, so you will be able to kind of get it done.
Okay, sir. Understood.
Thanks. Yes, Shreyas.
Sir, actually, I have done with my yellow belt certification. Do I need to reattempt that, or
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay. Not required. Right. So we'll talk about these basic green belts and black belts, like differences. We will kind of understand because projects are led by green belts and black belts, and we will be first obviously graduating as a green belt, and then we'll be becoming black belt. But what is the roles and responsibilities of green belt and black belt? When do you call it as a green belt project? When do you call it as a black belt project? Let's kind of differentiate. Okay, Pooja, we have in total 10 sessions. These are when I share this, that's the meeting ID, that's the passcode and everything to join the sessions, all the schedule, which is right here. So total 10. So coming to the section here for green belt, first of all, when we talk about green belt, well, do you see a difference in project management skills? The plain simple answer is no. They are both same, be it green belt or black belt, because they cannot be difference here, because both have to carry out the complete project. The green belt has to do a green belt project, black belt has to do a black belt project. They cannot be difference. So you have to live a complete project as a project manager. You have to manage the entire project. There can't be a difference here. Where the difference comes in is the statistical exposure, and big difference. A green belt has low to medium exposure of statistics. This is extensive, and we can say thanks to design of experiment, the DOE will make it more complex, but easy. It could be tricky. But that's worth taking that little bit of pain to understand DOE. duration, when you do a real life project, a green belt project would typically take about 4 to 6 months. It can be more or less, but typically it takes about 4 to 6 months, most of the projects. Black belts are more complex. It will take about 9 to 12 months. In general, we just did a project for a publication house, which was about 1 year, 7 months actually. 1 year, 7 months, that's what it took. And it was a massive project. We implemented Lean, Six Sigma, and we sort of solved that. One of the biggest challenges they were facing, right, like about €7.5 million worth of cost saving was the benefit of the project. It was amazing experience with this European clients, but yes, that's massive. So time durations can vary, but depending on how bad is the situation, how tough the target you have kept for yourself, and a lot of other factors will decide the timeline. So we'll talk about it as we go ahead, but pretty much these are typical. On average, most projects will be kind of getting over within this time frame. We talk about the roles, very important. As a green belt, you work within the department. You don't work outside the department. Is that a rule? No, absolutely not. As I said, forget about department. You don't have any boundaries. Whichever industry, doesn't matter. Which to forget about department scenario. But yes, if you're working in an organization, then pretty much there are rules within the organization. There are industry, not, this is the culture which has been created, that a green belt will only be allowed to work in their department, not outside department. So if I am HR person and I did my HR, like I've been doing that job. If I've done a Six Sigma project, like they want to do a Six Sigma project, the work ratio globally is generally like 30-70-30. So you only do 30% of your time goes on project, 30% on project. 70% time I will still be doing the HR job for which I was hired. So I don't work outside it. So 70% I've done my project, like my core work. 30% time I will implement to solve HR related challenges. Why? I don't work outside because my salary is paid by the department. That's not a rule, but that's why, because my cost center is the department. So since my salary is borne by the department, they want to take the benefit. They're giving me 30% time for the projects. They want to solve their problem. So an operation guy will solve operational problem. Quality guy will solve quality problem. Finance guy will solve finance problem. So there's no, this is not a rule, but that's how the organizational structures are created. But in real world, well, as a consultant, you can work anywhere. Like I have no industry. I come from a BPO background. Like that was we worked for US and Australian clients for good 14 years. I was dealing with most of my American clients and Australian clients. And I am sort of doing a project with like all these industries, which I have absolutely no idea. And honestly, don't need to know, because I can't become Google. You are supposed to work in every possible industry. Well, do you know Six Sigma? That's what matters. Because Six Sigma is all about data. Data has no language, maths has no language. Whichever industry you may talk about, whichever department you talk about, number is number. This is a number and this is a text. That's all what you need to know. That's it. There's no language for maths. There's no department. And hence, if you're crystal clear about what you've learned, within you, there's no boundaries. Well, you will be working with the functional managers in those departments, and they will be the one who will be solving. I can't teach a chemical engineer how to do a chemical engineering. Next day I work into IT sector. I can't become an IT engineer. That's why we will be working with the experts. We don't teach those experts how to do their job. I can't teach a chemical engineer how to do chemical engineering. Next, I can't teach an IT guy to do the IT work. Well, I understand data better than them. That's where I understand project management better than them. I understand quality management better than them. I can help them understand what their data tells us and let them take a decision after that. So I can help them understand what is the current situation. I can't help them do the job. I can help them understand what your data speaks about it. And you decide whether it's good or bad. And then we can solve the problem. I can help you all this while we work with the functional managers to help them understand how the data works. Practically, it's what we do as a Six Sigma professionals. You can't do the job. Yeah, if you are an expert, like if I just did a consulting work for a BPO again. That's where I spent like good 14 years in BPO. So I was a functional manager too. So I was Six Sigma professional, but I knew the background of BPO. So I was able to solve things and was able to contribute there in the core concepts also. But rest, if I step into chemical industry, when I talk about oil and natural gas, we talk about for that matter, healthcare, hospitality, it has, well, I'm not an expert in that industry. And that's where we have process experts, process managers. They will be the one who will be working with you to give you those functional knowledge. You will be analyzing the data and helping them kind of take a rational business decision. So this is more about what we do. Black belts, well, cross-functional, no limits. Cross-functional is they work with every department. They will poke their nose in everyone's job. Well, that's what it is. 100% on project. They are more obviously senior in terms of role because they would be managing much complex problems in an organization. Green belt project typically stays within the department. A black belt project which sort of spans out of multiple departments. So a black belt will be working with multiple green belts to solve a problem. Overall, the macro project would be a black belt one. So there's one more differentiation, which is again decided by the company. This is cost saving. Cost savings is decided by, well, this is not where we have a common yardstick. General Electric has its own standard. They say if it's the cost saving because of project is less than $10 million, then it say it's a green belt project. If it's more than 10 million, they say it's a black belt one. This is good only for General Electric. Their management decided it. Some company might decide it differently. Well, they depending on how big is the company might have a different method of saying this is a green belt or this is a black belt project. But this is subjected to the industry to industry, company to company decision. So we don't have a control over it, but it's the stakeholders will decide it. So that's what we have from a perspective of your green belt and black belt. Then you have the role of master black belt, which is where the final belt, master black belt, that's where the role ends in Six Sigma. This is more of an experienced black belt. As an experienced black belt, well, you are expected to work in a diversified experience of industries, departments, domains. So basically, you are more of a mentor. Like if you're working in an organization, then you sort of don't do a project because a green belt does green belt project, black belt does black belt project. So typically a master black belt will not be doing a project. You'll have about a team of 10 to 12 green belts or black belts with you. So they will be doing their job. Yes, you work as a mentor, as a guide. Well, what if they get stuck by the virtue of your experience of managing project? You can help them execute the project. Well, they are more of the guidance. They will be working as a mediator between Six Sigma department, which we will say, like we'll talk about what do you call that, and the management. So they'll be sort of dealing with the management to understand what are the challenges we want to solve. And they will sort of be the mediator, point of contact, will be discussing all about all these things. So when we talk about these rules, when we talk the Six Sigma departments, well, different companies call it differently. Most common name of Six Sigma department is called process excellence. Process excellence, but job roles where job openings will come as Six Sigma green belt required or black belt required for process excellence or business excellence or operational excellence. These are most common names. Well, different, you could see a variation because there's no rule that you can keep only these names, but these are most common. You could see variations also. So generally we have people who will roll up with these departments. Coming to now, this is where the Six Sigma belts end here. Now, having said that, there are a couple of more names, different like nomenclatures we should be clear about. Were very, very important from a Six Sigma like a department per se, because we deal with something called champion. A champion is not a Six Sigma belt. Champion is what we call somebody as champion. So Six Sigma people call somebody as a champion, as when we say who is the owner of the project. We are not the owner of the project. We are the facilitator. We are just doing it for somebody. This is technically my client. He's generally the head of department. Generally the VPs and all will be called as champion. We call somebody who's the owner of the project as the champion. So we call it that way. So it's not a Six Sigma designation. We generally call them as champion. Now, this person is responsible for approval, denial, or review of the project. So if your project is like when you want to get the project approved, well, champion is the one who will review, approve, or deny the project. So it's very important to keep this in mind. If you face any challenges during the project, loop in champion immediately. Do not wait, do not delay, because it's not your project, it's champion's project. You are just getting it done for the champion. So we got to keep in mind, it's if the project gets delayed, it's champion who's going to get who will be in trouble. Because why? We'll talk about why the champion will be in trouble, because the champion would have gone ahead and spoken with the sponsor. Sponsor is the CEOs, CXOs, and all those people. So CEOs, CXOs, CTOs, directors, and all, whatever you call this, but practically these are the ones who will be funding the project. That's the only role. So champion will go and convince the sponsor that we have got a problem and we need the problem to be sorted out. And we have tried and tested. Our experts have also worked on it. Unfortunately, it's not solving. It keeps coming back. We solve it, we get a temporary relief, but again, the problems come back. So I guess we need to have a Six Sigma team work on this problem and solve this for once and for all. So champion will convince the sponsor to fund the project, but because the project has been approved on the face value of the champion, practically champion will be answerable to the project. So this is where we say project success or failure is champion's responsibility. It's not your responsibility, it's champion's responsibility. And that's why champion will be ruthless in following up, because tomorrow the answer has to be given by the champion to the sponsor. Sponsor will ask you, where's the ROI? Where's the benefit? Where's the profit? Well, definitely. And that's why champion is going to be ruthless, and champion will be very, very ruthless in terms of review of the project to make sure that, so yes, we should have a very, very ROI, return on investment, ROI, sorry, return on investments. The profit margins, basically, whatever you work on. So practically after implementing this project, this champion should be able to quantify that, yes, we have invested this much amount of money and this is what we've gained from this. What if the project fails? Then pretty much champion will get the beating. So it's very important for the champion to make sure project is successful, and you have to have very, very transparent relationship with the champion. We want the champion to be on our side, not against us. You will have a very, very peaceful project if your champion is with you. It's very important to get because this person is at a very, very high position. So if you're facing any challenges during the project, somebody is giving you a tough time, somebody is not cooperating with you, somebody is giving you a runaround, well, you need data. Well, this person keeps giving you a runaround, well, stalling you. Because of this person, your project will get delayed. So you must loop in champion, and champion, by the virtue of the position, will get the problem sorted out. So it's really important to make sure champion gets the first-hand information, and we should always make sure champion is always updated. Every day, day-end report must go to champion about what's happening in your project. Now, having said that, champion himself or herself maybe just a white belt. Maybe, because that's an extra skill. You don't need to be a Six Sigma professional to be a owner of a project, a head of department, to be a VP. You don't need to be a Six Sigma professional, or maybe a yellow belt, or maybe a green belt, or maybe a black belt, or maybe a master black belt himself, or even none. So it is a blessing to have somebody who is Six Sigma. Nowadays, like I've been doing most of my training either in corporates, or I do these trainings only for CEOs, customized trainings for CEOs. Then extensive training. The Black Belt program is like 160 hours long program, where we just work with the data, help them understand how to solve the problem in there. So been doing lots of specific training. Only one person is in the training, which is CEOs, CXOs. We just do one-on-one training. That's when we go and to that level, they want to understand, because it's a top-down approach. The management believes And that's where management implements the entire Six Sigma in their organization. It's a top-down approach. So when we do these trainings, we try to make sure that these people are empowered. What I have seen, the requests that we've been getting for doing these trainings for CEO, CXO has increased phenomenal. Like we used to, when we do the projects, most of we used to get champions who are not Six Sigma trained. But off lately, for last few years, we have been seeing a change. Most of these people are already well versed with Six Sigma. So things have changed. So it's a blessing to have somebody who understands the importance of Six Sigma rather than, well, it becomes honestly a nightmare when you have to deal with somebody who doesn't know Six Sigma, has heard that Six Sigma is good. Okay, I'm investing. I want you to work on this, but doesn't understand the language. It's difficult to communicate. But sorry, we live in like an imperfect world. We don't have choices at times, and you don't have control over who will be the champion. So practically, you can also be working with people who are not even Six Sigma professional. But well, this is nowadays very, very highly unlikely. At that level, most of the people undergo these trainings. So practically, when we have these belts, these are the common belts that we come across in Six Sigma. These are not the common, the ones which we actually will be dealing in Six Sigma world. So that's what we have from the belts perspective. Let me quickly go back, and there was few lengthy questions there. So I will just let me answer the ones which are short ones. And having said that, I will definitely come back and respond to the remaining. Difference between business and operation, well, there's nothing. They're different name. Mahesh, different people call it differently. Some companies call it process excellence, some companies call it as business excellence. It's just a name, and you could see a different version also. Name of department could be different. Can Six Sigma be bottom-top approach? Never ever. Those projects will fail. Six Sigma and Lean, they're top-down approach. Six Sigma projects will always require management. It's the management has to believe and implement it. If you don't have support from the management, there's no way Six Sigma project will be worked out. So it's a top-down. Kaizen is bottom-top approach. When you do Kaizen, it's always the bottom-top. Six Sigma and Lean is always top-down. We will be talking about DPMO and all. We will get to there. So we'll understand about DPO, DPU, all those terminology, because a lot of things have to be discussed about that. So we'll come to that, but at a later stage. Please just, what we can do is we can create this small tab here as parking lot. So going forward, if there's any question, say which is ahead of time, what we'll do is we'll park it here and we'll kind of keep answering these questions as the time comes in, because this is some sort of little ahead of topic. So we'll sort of keep it for now for a later stage, as we will discuss this for sure. So I hope that's okay. I don't have your name here. It's by some numeric numbers here. We will keep it for a later stage. We'll discuss it with this has to be. So any question which is sort of ahead of time, we'll park it. We'll definitely cover it up. And if there's any question, like all the questions that you have here, I will sort of, without your name, but I will, when I will sort of answer this, and I keep it here in this parking lot itself. So I'll copy paste before we sign up for today. I'll take all your questions. We have some questions which are related to your industry specifically. Like there's a question from here, but Agile and Six Sigma and PMP, we'll talk. I'll sort of explain all of it. But remember, Six Sigma was always based on Agile methodology. It's hybrid. Six Sigma is a hybrid approach. Even PMP has gone in a hybrid approach. The PMP, people who have already gone for PMP certification or have an understanding of PMP, it's very simple thing to understand about PMP. Like initially, PMP always used to work with hardcore rules, which is the predictive model of implementing a project, which was good to hear, but we don't live in a perfect world. So we cannot expect things to work as we think. We can't be so rigid about it. And Agile is all about adaptiveness. Agile, PMP post this COVID situation, the biggest change in the PMP history has happened, where they have the syllabus, the content, everything is like now it's 50, PMP is 50% predictive and 50% agile. So even PMI also realized that you can't be so rigid. Given the situation, you have to customize a different solution. You cannot have one common yardstick for solving every problem. So customization is required, and Agile is like more about. Six Sigma was always hybrid. So we'll see a lot of similarities of Agile in Six Sigma. We will be taking a lot of changes. We'll be updating it at frequent interval. We'll take the feedback and we'll upgrade forward. So we'll see. Six Sigma was always Agile based method, but hybrid, not complete Agile, but hybrid method. And there's some questions related to industry. We'll talk about these hotels. Ajit, Six Sigma people, Six Sigma was first implemented in Redwood hotels in US, and since then it's been implemented. What I'll be doing is I'll be sharing this list of case studies. I'll create a link of this that's for various industries. Please just see if you have something which is related to your industry. I'll share the link for you to download these. There are lots of industries in every we have got some case studies in every section. Please check them out whenever. So if it's something related to your industry, please check them out. You will find some answer. Lots of information in here. So depending on what your industry is, you can, I'll share this link so you can go through it. Six Sigma is applied everywhere. Don't worry about that. So I'll just share this link. It's in use in every possible scenario. You can, like, if you have a problem, we have a solution through Six Sigma. Well, and we go through it, we'll automatically understand there's no industry which is left out. Honestly, I might be missing some out here, but more like most of the industries are covered here. But if in case something is left out, I can definitely check this out and see if I can find that, and I'll get that for you. But I'll share this link, at least you can go through whichever industry is relevant to you. In case something is missing out, do let me know. I'll compile and I'll add more to this list here. So that's from Six Sigma perspective, it has practically no boundaries. Having said that, last but not the least, I'm sort of parking. I'll go through the chat messages and I'll sort of look at and update this list. I'll answer all these questions here. So I'll keep it here. I'll answer it, but we'll come back and sort of have an explanation about this at a later stage. These are subject related questions. Some are specific to your industry. I will answer them also here. So here in the parking lot, I'll come back and answer them. Last, which is left portion, which is left for the day, is when to implement Six Sigma. Because tomorrow we'll start with define phase. So this is just the, and this some questions will come from this also in interview and in exam as well. So this is the, even the introduction will have some bit of questions. Well, 3-4 situations, we're going to quickly talk about this one. So simple problem, we've got complex problem. We have solutions known. We have solutions unknown. When you're dealing with a simple problem, and now you also know the solution, but please just don't do a project because you feel like doing a project. It is it's no point in doing a project if you already, so just go with the just do it approach. If you, the way you've been doing it, please just follow it. Just do it approach. What you've been doing, you're already successful. It's not that without Six Sigma, you are not doing fine. You are doing great in your industry. You're a subject matter expert. You're doing a good job and fair job. So it's not that what you know is bad. It's right. It's great. So keep doing what you've been doing. There's nothing which needs to be changed. Yes, you're adding another skill to it. So you have more ways to solve the problem. So it doesn't mean that what you know is bad. So please continue solving the problem the way you've been doing it. Now, you could be dealing with a problem which is simple in nature. You know the problem, and because you know the problem, you know the solution. But there could be situations where you know the problem, but you're not able to come up with the right solution. You are not able to come up with a consensus about how to go about getting the answers. We have to use problem solving tools. And there are lots of problem solving tools. We will talk about this. As I said, you don't need to implement Six Sigma always. Six Sigma is a massive investment. It will require a lot of projects, a lot of approvals, a lot of things which will go into it. You don't need to do the complete project, but you can solve with some tools. So we will talk about a lot of tools. We'll talk about 7 quality control tools. We'll talk about the process capability test. It's about Sigma level part of it. You will talk about risk management. We'll use, so within this 7 quality tools, we'll talk about specifically control charts. There are lots of tools we will be discussing. These 2 tools can be used as standalone tools. You can solve your problem with these. Well, you don't always need to go full throttle. In the end, what's objective is to solve the problem. And that's what management is concerned about. So use the problem as it is, use the tools. Don't go for Six Sigma project always. The question is when you come with a complex problem, you're dealing with a much complex, a lot of departments, a lot of confusion, a lot of things that are out of control. Well, but solutions are known. That's when you go with lean or Kaizen approach. We'll talk about that, but simply both of them look on simplifying it. The reason why it's complex is because it's it's too messed up. So with lean, you clean up the chunk, you remove the process waste, it becomes simple. It's complex, and that's why it's difficult. But you already know the solution. The problems are happening, what you see, the problems are evident to you. You see the problems day in, day out, you are not happy with it. And you know what is causing the problem. So you always know the solution. It's too messy and too much to deal with it. That's what makes it difficult. So lean and Kaizen can help you that. Coming to Six Sigma is where you talk about a real complex situation which you have no idea about, and you are sort of dealing with unknown territory. That's where Six Sigma will be applied. Six Sigma is when you go ahead and apply this in a situation where you have no idea what to do. Now, we'll take 2 minutes to understand where to implement Six Sigma. Like hypothetically, I am a merchant. I sell a product on an e-commerce portal, kids friendly aeroplane. That's what I said. Kids friendly aeroplane. Now I have few vendors who manufacture this aeroplane for me. I purchase from them and I sell on e-commerce portal to make money. My requirements to my vendors are pretty clear. It should be colorful. Well, kids love colorful plane. It should be kids friendly. That means no sharp edges. Well, I don't want kids to cut their finger. And well, it should have my logo on it. And well, it's a plane, so it should fly at least say 5 meters, basic simple requirements. Well, if I start rejecting one of my vendors' plane because it's not colorful, but is that like a simple problem or a complex one? Well, it's a simple one. What's a big deal? Well, I can just go and make the color like plain colorful, like whatever there's a specific color. Simple problem. Just we don't need a project for this. Its problem is known. What is not? This is not a colorful plane. Make it colorful. Simple problem, simple solution. Just do it approach. Don't try to make it complex. It's not kids friendly. I can touch, feel, see the plane. I can find the sharp edges. When I can touch, I feel that. Well, make it blunt. What's so difficult to understand? Don't make it complex. It doesn't have your logo. Well, put the logo. What's so big deal about it? Well, I've tried to fly this plane 15, 20 times. It barely flies 1.5 meters, it falls down. That's a complex problem. Well, I don't know. Well, in every situation, I knew what is the exact problem. I knew it's not colorful. I can make it colorful. It has sharp edges, make it blunt. It doesn't have my logo. Well, I know, put the logo. So try to fly this plane 15, 20 times and it's not flying. Well, do I know the reason? Well, probably yes, I know, but there are multiple. But the plane may not be flying because of weight, may not be flying because of the design aerodynamics of the plane, probably the wing size, probably the battery, the motor, the remote, the person who's flying the plane may not be trained, the height from which we're trying to play, the wind condition, the temperature, the pressure, and there could be a lot of factors, and probably the humidity and God knows what not. We get a technical expert. This guy will give you lots of them. This is what we've got here. So quality of material used. On and on, on and on. Now, if I have to solve this problem, can you tell me which one should I work with? Which my top 3 problems should I work with? In your understanding, like as per your understanding, what should I work with? Anyone wants to suggest top 3 recommended areas?
Aerodynamics, and like battery.
Okay, all right. So let's kind of take this as a okay. So when we talk about these things, is weight? Well, first of all, I would ask this question: like, if we talk about this weight one, is weight the problem in my plane? Do you really know it's the problem in your plane? No, it could be a problem, but I don't know whether it's the problem or not. So it may be a problem. Yes, I do not deny. Probably it may be too heavy because of which it's not flying. It may be, yes, but no, I'm not sure whether it's the problem in my plane or not. Aerodynamics can be a problem. The design of the plane could be a wrong one. Yes, it may be, but I don't know which one. Is it the problem? I don't know. It may be. The wing size may be too broad or too small. Yes. Is it the problem in your plane? Well, I don't know. It may be a problem, but I'm not sure about it. I think this could be the problem. You think, right? That's what battery could be a problem. Yes. Is it the problem in your brain? I'm not sure. Well, all these are probable reasons. Well, you see a problem and that's what you're speculating. This could be problem, that could be problem, and there are lots of potential problems. In the previous case, we exactly know what was the problem, we had a solution. If you know the problem, you always have a solution. Every industry has experts. You tell them the problem, you have your solution. They have got education, they've got experience, people like you. If I tell you the problem, you have your solution. Here, my biggest problem is that I don't know what to tell my experts, what to solve. This in a real project, this list could be easily 25, 30 possible causes. They are possible causes. They might be impacting. And that's where we need Six Sigma. Six Sigma will help you understand exactly which ones are the real reason why the plane is not flying. Why it is. What it is. When you are list, you may be having lots of potential things to talk about, but you don't know where to start. That's when Six Sigma is required. Exact identification. What is causing the problem? Rest are speculations. We're just speculating right now. There's nothing else to validate. Six Sigma will give you exact clarity about what is actually causing the problem. When you know it, you solve it. Simple as that. There's no big deal. It's like I go to a doctor and I complain that I've got fever. And this doctor gives me 10 medicines. One for viral, one for bacterial, one for anti like some protozoal, some fungal disease, God knows, everything. Bacterial can cause a fever, viral can cause a fever, protozoal can, fungal disease can cause a fever, everything can cause a fever. He gives me 10 medicines, hoping one will work, whether it's a bacterial, viral, whatever it is, but that will work. What about the remaining medicines? They will hurt you. But a qualified doctor will get your blood test done. Understand, is it a bacterial fever, viral fever, protozoal, fungal, whatever, and then give you one medicine for that, and then you get cured. So Six Sigma is exactly like that. We get the test done to understand what is actually the problem before we give the solution. Well, I will not give you a solution before I've identified the problem. And that's where Six Sigma gets to pinpoint, find out what is actually troubling your process. So it's more about getting to the root cause of it. If you define the root cause, yeah, yes, ma'am.
And I believe that in order to identify the root cause, we will be learning Kano model.
We will be discussing all of that. Yes, we will be discussing Kano model. We're going to fishbone, 5i, and plus the statistical tools also.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So basically, this is the basic introduction part. So because right after this, we will be resuming with define phase tomorrow. But having said that, a quick one just before we, before we sign off for today. This is the Google Drive link. Please do share, save this link, because this is not going to change for this batch. So all the materials that we have here, so I'm going to create a folder here. You will be able to download from this particular Google Drive. So you may be able to open up the view access. You will have view access and download access, but you cannot edit anything here because a lot of people are accessing accidentally, things can get deleted. So only view access and download access. So whatever we have discussed, I'll place the files, and going forward, there'll be lots of templates, a lot of material I will be sharing, not just this Excel file. There will be lots of material will be going. So we'll create day-wise folder as we go through it. So right now I'll be placing this file and within this folder, I will also be like answering the questions which were shared. So I will place a separate Word file with those questions, and I'll place it in there. So just give me one quick moment. Please let me know if you're able to access and download this file. So at least we're sure about how to access this. You can download it. You can open up, but you can download this. Oh, let me just give me one moment. My mistake, I've opened it up. So
can you please share the case studies also?
Yeah, but that's a heavy one. I have to create a WeTransfer link, and I'll share that by tomorrow when we meet up. So I'll share the link of the WeTransfer link because that's heavy. That's in some MBs. So we need to, like, I'll share the link of the case that you can download on your local system. So that's the file. Can you please check and confirm, like, in case you're able to download this? You can just right click and download. It will be working fine. I will. I will.
Do you hear me?
Hi,
Shashi.
Yeah. Hi.
Do you have a recap for tomorrow, Lisa?
The topics.
Yes. This topic.
Yeah, the topics that we. So, I'll be. Yeah.
Did you recap? Do you have a recap for this?
The
Or
recap
just to George to continue the topic
so we
for
will,
tomorrow.
we will be, so like this is more of so we can do a very brief recap, but of this one because
Okay.
we will be getting through the defined phase portion tomorrow. So yes, having said that, we will be doing a very brief recap of this overview of
Okay,
this,
okay.
just to a quick 2-3 minutes, and we'll move on.
Okay, okay.
From this one.
Thank you,
Right.
Shashi.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your valuable time. And yes, let's connect tomorrow and take it up from here. Yes, Mohsen,
Okay,
you have
yeah,
a question?
Sure, Shashi. Yeah, thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I was just asking how far we are from the simulation project that you were telling us about.
Simulation project will often happen post we're done with the session. Like simulation projects will come in like post your certification is completed. So once you like, we will be working on data, so we'll have a practical understanding of doing all of it. In the entire training will be in the same model of doing the project. So we will have an understanding how a project needs to be completed. So by the time you complete the training, you need to go for the examination, and when you complete the examination, that's when you start with your project part of it.
And so is that black belt after our black belt certification we're gonna do it, or
yes, absolutely. I will be sharing data upfront. I will be sharing data upfront for the projects part of it. I do share, see, there's some sample project data which we will be sharing, some reference projects also. So tomorrow when we kind of start working define, I'll share a lot of other information, a lot of files which we will be using during the training. So we will have a clear understanding how it needs to run. So with that being said, we will be, once we're done with the training, you will have a fair bit of idea how to start and end the project. So that's when you implement it on one of the sample data.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, all right. And any which ways, in case if anyone has not taken the Google Drive link, I will any which ways be sharing it in the WhatsApp group. And given that, like, I'm going to copy these questions here in the chat. I'll save it, and I'll by the end of the day today, I will place a separate file here, which is for the questions which were asked. Some were industry related, some other questions. In case I would have missed out, I'll answer those questions in here. So got these questions, all of it here. So I'll answer them. I'll place it in the same Google Drive link out here. So access to Google Drive, like the WhatsApp group is just coordinate with your program coordinator. So the program coordinator will add you to the link, or probably share you the WhatsApp group link. Even if you would have received the email for joining this session, that has a link for joining the WhatsApp group. If you when you check out your email, you must have received the email with a link to for this sessions, all the sessions links. So it should have a link of WhatsApp group as well. All right. So any which ways, perfect. Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone. Please take good care, and let's connect tomorrow to take it up from here. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.